where the shadows creep. Three voices haunt what most won't believe. LBL nights and Talladega pines, tracking strange things between the lines. Misty sees ghosts in the midnight haze, grows remedies in garden rose rays. Pine straw sprite and animals too. She knows the woods better than you. Greg made peace with the boogers one night. Now they steal his deer clean out of sight. Spencer studies every sound and track. Don't say dog man, he ain't having that. They hear your stories from across the land. Campfire truth from everyday man. And now let's join Squirrel, the Possum, and Big Chief.
That's so funny. Oh God, I'm sorry, Spencer.
That's all right.
I did not notice that. I don't think anybody did. Missed it first.
Where'd she go?
I don't know.
She's probably squirted pepper juice in her eyes. She's like cutting up peppers while she's backstage.
Yeah.
Spencer got her fired up, and she's out attacking a data center right now as we speak.
Yeah.
Misty Crocker in the background.
Oh
She's
my
got
God.
an apron. She's got an apron on, y'all. She's doing food prep while she does the show.
Who eats all that food? She sends pictures of. It's like,
I know.
Man, that's crazy.
Look, dude, she's got the tapeworm. Got to have. She got a tapeworm bigger than Anna.
Fred.
Yeah,
Fred's got a big appetite.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
her name popped up.
let's hear her name.
There she is.
Hello.
Hey,
Nancy.
Squirrel.
She's doing that strong silent type right now.
She's giving the side eye in slow motion.
Yeah. Oh, I just come up with nicknames. I can't say it on air.
Uh-huh.
There's feedback again.
Yes, there's feedback again.
It's like a super delayed feedback.
Mm-hmm. Hey, everybody in chat, we're not ignoring you. We got technical issues.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Misty does on her end.
Technical difficulties.
Hey, Carl.
No, I can't.
I'll remain back here. Y'all just continue without me.
Okay.
Yeah,
She did that on purpose. She's probably stirring butter beans and apples and stuff right now.
Making cornbread. Golly, y'all, she's made like 40 gallons of damn apple butter and everything known to man by apple. She's like Bubba Gump Tramp, except it's with apples.
I want to know who's missing all the apples.
Look, she said all them apples come off of one tree. That son of a gun must be like a damn giant sequoia of apple trees.
Seriously. I got an apple tree, and every year we don't get one off of it. It's just all gone overnight. She's made apple cider vinegar, apple sauce, apple butter. What else she made? Apple pies or some crap?
I don't know.
You name it. If it's got apple in the label, I think she's made it in the last 2 weeks.
It looks good. I still hear that delay.
It's just like an echo.
Hey, chat, how does it sound on y'all's end?
No, I can't do this.
It starts storming every Sunday before we get started here, it seems like. I've connected to my internet and hotspot, and none of it's working right. So I'll be here, though. I mean, I'll chime in if I'm needed, but I'll just kind of help with chat and stuff. Hey, everybody, anyways.
Leanne, I got a bone to pick with Leanne. Heather, I already saw it. We're driving down the road earlier, and Heather's like, "Oh, look at this picture Leanne posted." She said, "Ha, you ain't got no butt." I'm like, "I know." Oh my God! What?
That's a medical term called no acetol.
Yeah, I've had that since birth.
Well, hello everybody that's here. Everybody in chat, moderators, thank you for doing what you're doing. We're going to attempt to kind of wrap up the Greg thing. I don't know. Even 4 shows is not going to do it justice, but we'll hit the highlights because we got to get to the funny shit, like where he met all of us. And I can't believe Squirrel is not going to be here to chime in. I'm going to give her a bunch of hell today. This should be good.
She got to jump in
trying,
somehow.
y'all, but apparently I don't want to mess up the show with it echoing.
Apparently, it's the first time I've been on television. Apparently, y'all seen that video of that little kid? I laugh at that every time. That's up there with I like turtles.
Misty is like Ricky Bobby in Talladega Nights. The first time they're interviewing him, and he keeps doing this shit. He's like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah.
Can you still? JR just came in here and said your volume is like way super low. Nobody can hear you. So can you still
Yes.
not hear me?
Yeah, your volume's low.
Man, and somebody in chat, I'm not running anything in the background. If you got some something open,
No, nothing's open. I blame the turtles.
hey,
Just win in the wind.
How about now?
You're still like you're 50 miles away. I can hear you, but it's not. We're just not used to you being. We're not used to you with a soft voice. Is what it is.
Can't
Is
help
it my?
So
They're saying
No,
I
it's-
have an
it's
echo.
It's because
I think it's
Misty's
'cause of me.
microphone is on.
Yeah.
So it went away though.
There's Bama. Bama, I'll call you back later. I was busy earlier.
There's still a little bit of an echo.
Testing
I'm
1,
not-
2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. I don't hear it on my end.
I don't either.
There was there for a second.
Huh.
Well, anyway, whatever. The show must go on.
Oh, I see she changed her picture. Greg, you still got that picture?
I don't know. Let me check. Let's just check right here. Hold on. Well, I think she sabotaged me. I don't know how. Look, I didn't change it. Somehow in the world it pops up. Tell me how on my stuff I've got Misty's picture pops up on my stuff.
That ain't no accident.
Ugh. All right, where'd we leave off at?
I don't know. I had to leave because of storming, like Misty said.
Well, I'm not real sure. I mean, before we dive heavily deep head first off into that, I mean, I had surprise company yesterday. I wound up having to work. I wasn't planning on working, but it's hot as blazes here in Alabama, and people was ringing my phone off the hook, going, "I'm burning up. I'm about to die." So I wasn't planning on working. I was going to try to take yesterday and today off. That didn't work. So Roger gives me a phone call. It's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm rolling down the road going to the job." "Oh, me and Peyton's on the way down there." I was like, "Where you at?" "Well, we're done south of the Alabama-Tennessee line." I was like, "Well," he's like, "Well, I guess we can go back." I said, "No, just come on." I said, "You know how to get in?" I said, "I'll be back when I get there." So him and Peyton was here when I got back. Roger and Peyton had a little bit of excitement while they were here.
That was nuts. And we figured out something. The air's so thick in Alabama that the fans don't have like high, medium, low, and all that. They have like gears.
Yeah, shift it down.
It's thick.
Sometimes you have to double clutch it.
No, it worked. But Peyton, I said, "We'll sit on the back porch for a little while," and he's like, "I just went out there, man. It is muggy." And we stepped out, and there was a little bit of a breeze, and then it just quit. And I'm like, "Yeah, let's go back inside."
Yeah, it was bad, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But no, well, tell them what happened, Roger.
Yeah.
I mean,
It look, we were there about an hour, or maybe more, and we had the front door open, and then Peyton shut it. I did the little live, just for fun, and we settled in, and I'm sitting there with my back to the back of the cabin or whatever you want to call it, and he's doing something on his phone, and I I heard it sound like a good sized rock hit the metal siding, and I look up at Peyton, and he didn't react, and I said, I'll clean it up. I said, what was that? Because I knew it wasn't normal. It wasn't a house popping from heat. It wasn't wood. It wasn't, and he looked up, and I saw the realization on his face of where we were. Next thing I know, he had a double barrel in his hand, and he checked it, make sure it was something. And he said, are the doors locked? I said, does it matter? I mean, if they want to come in, they're coming in. And we peeked out the windows and stuff, and it just wasn't normal. It was a good thud. It would, and I could have took one of those pine cones and been 3 feet away from it and threw it hard as I could, and you couldn't have heard it. So it was definitely a hard surface. We heard the ping or ting, that little metal sound. So it was the siding. And I went out and looked on the porch a little bit for a rock, but we didn't hear it hit on the wood of the deck. So I was looking on maybe a rug or something, but then it started downpouring. I called Greg. I kind of joking, but I called Heather first to say goodbye just in case. And then I called Greg, and he said, I'm about 2 minutes out. I'll be there in just a second. I'm like, all right, man, just be careful. So I don't know. We didn't see anything, but that's just not normal. I mean, I've lived here 20 years. I ain't never had a rock hit my house, So we just got settled in, got quiet. TV was down, like I barely could hear it. And we were just playing on our phones, waiting on Greg. And Misty brought up something kind of halfway joking, but I've heard this before from other people. We were there and Greg wasn't there. And yes, maybe they're trying to run us out. Maybe they're trying to take care of Greg's stuff. I've heard that many times where somebody goes investigates and the owners are not there, and something happens similar to that. So who knows?
You also hear people say that whenever they move into a new house,
mm-hmm,
or a house, the new owners, that they will get slaps and rocks thrown at
mm-hmm,
the house, whereas the people that were living there before had probably already experienced it. Hell, it happened at this house that we moved into. Whenever we moved in here, it was the first month. There was a big bang on the outside of the house right behind our heads in the bedroom. And yep, I mean, it seems to be a trend, but who knows?
And you can roll out the house pops because it was halfway up the siding. You know what I'm saying? If this house here is built in 71 and it gets extremely hot or extremely cold, it'll settle, it'll expand. I can barely shut my doors with all this humidity we've had and the rain for the past month. My doors are like swelling or something. And Heather, what's wrong with them? I said, they'll be all right in a couple months. But yeah, I will tell everybody that it was intense because I didn't know what was next. So we did start peeking out windows and stuff, but we didn't see anything. And when you're boxed in like that, it's not a great feeling. I was nervous, but I don't know how to say this. I wasn't scared. I was just nervous, and Peyton was pointing towards the front door and I was pointing towards his back door just in case. I don't know what we could have done, but
imagine being Greg there every night and he's there by himself at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m.
Look, that's
the thing on the roof. The thing on the roof would have bothered me. Like what happened there, that would have bothered me because I damn sure don't want something up there on the roof.
And that's exactly what I thought, because I remember I told the story of throwing the football with my buddy up in northeastern Kentucky, close to West Virginia. And we're throwing the football years ago. I came to hunt for a week, deer hunt, and all of a sudden this roar came down the holler and just hit us in the chest. It was a lion. I knew what it was, but I'm like, what is going on? He said, oh, my buddy down there won a lion in a poker game, and he's been feeding it deer and all this stuff. And he said, where you going? I said, in the house. And then, but my mind goes back to these people that live in these parts of the world where they don't have big structures and they have to deal with these things while they're hunting or walking somewhere. And I'm like, I have a new respect for people who live in regions with lions running loose. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I hear echo too now.
Well, sounds like it's on your end.
I agree, Sandman. There might have been a prayer or two said quietly. But what's wild is, seeing the realization on Peyton, because he said, I'm at our house, my mama's house, your house. You hear pops and stuff like that. And it's just normal stuff. But he said, but the sound of that was definitely something hard on metal. He said, when I looked up, when you asked me what was that, I realized where I was. I saw the look on his face when he realized, like he went into oh crap mode quickly. He ran over that double barrel and he popped that thing open, so made sure it was loaded. And
to make sure a gun was loaded in Greg's house, I'd had no question.
Windwalker, you're right. That's just not normal. It's funny. It's funny now, but y'all don't take this the wrong way. But on the way home, I was like, Peyton, you had your Glock sitting right beside you, and you grabbed that shotgun. What were you planning on doing? He said, heckle that 9mm. He said, if something come in on us, I was going to try to shove something in his mouth the best I could. He's so funny, y'all. It's just the way he puts things. But the look on his face was priceless. I'm sure I had one on my face too, but yeah, I know you're TKB. You're right. It's just, I guess it makes you feel better.
Well, Greg, we covered your initial sighting, the impressive one where it ran across the road, ran across the road. We didn't get into like the time where you saw the one go up the hill, or the other one crossing the road as you were coming home that one night. You want to get into the one about the one going up the hill?
Yeah. We talked about the motorcycle story. All right, the same place where the motorcycle story happened. Basically, I'm talking about within 20, 30 feet of where I was sitting against that tree. I had snuck back in on this hunting excursion, and I had just easing in there, looking. I was going to get down where I could see off that ridge again. And I had got into that, come through the different terrains of the big pine timber. So on my right was this cutover, and it's got more of a wagon trail than it is anything. It's not really even a log road. This was an old house place from that probably early 1800s. And there's an old dug well that's caved in and some big trees. You can tell it was a house place. But anyway, I came out of the pine straw and stuff, and I had to walk just a little ways in some big leaves, big hardwood leaves. And of course, I'm trying to be super quiet and as stealthy as I can. And I take just a few steps where it crunches pretty hard. Well, now the ridge is going straight out in front of me, and it's kind of flat to my right, and it's starting to go off in a little bit of a valley to the right, and then this big hollow to the left, and I'm going down the top, so this hollow I'm going parallel with it. Well, to my left, it goes down this hill, y'all. It's a slope about like this. It goes down about 100 yards, and it flattens out for probably 30, 40 feet. And it goes back up another big hill. So I'm looking down and the flattening up the other side. Well, I'm glancing down in there, and I'm trying to look because I can see it. It's big hardwoods, and I can see, a couple 100 yards or better. And there's not a lot of undergrowth in that. It's really clean. And I just looked down that way, ease my head and look. And stalk hunting, you take like one step, maybe one or maybe two. You stop, you look at everything and you're listening, and then you sneakily take another step And that's what I'm doing. And y'all, I just looked down on the bottom, looking down the slope, and I brought my head back around in front of me to look, look at the ground and look back around this way. About the time my head turned from my left out in front of me, right where I had just looked, it was like an explosion. It was like not like a boom, but like a big blast of air just blows leaves. There's leaves and sticks and all kind of debris. It's just I jerked my head and I looked back down. I just looked away and I jerked my head back, and this debris is like coming out like a bomb went off, like a cloud that's going up through the air. Stuff is just like going out in this arc, just a perfect circle, just going out. And it's tree limbs and it's leaves and all kind of stuff, and it's just fluttering. Leaves are fluttering down. It would be like if you had a pile of leaves, probably 6 foot high, and you hit it with a car, and it just poof, and all this stuff is falling, and sticks are flipping through the air. And in the middle of this, as this debris field is going out and raining down, this big black thing comes up. It's just like it just springs out of it, like it's coming out, like it just explodes. And the first thing hits me is like, oh shit. And I've got my rifle down like this, and I pull around and I look, turn at it. And this thing comes up and it whirls and it takes off running. And it's going straight away from me. I'm looking down the hill, and it's in the very bottom of this flat. And that thing goes up that hill away from me, and it's running away. So I'm I'm up here and it's down there, and I'm looking down on it. And I watch that thing go up that hill away from me. And it is moving. I'm talking about this thing is covering some ground. And of course, it's not running just a straight line because it's big hardwoods. And I'm watching it as it's going up the hill. It's like darting right and left. And it's doing this and just running up that hill. But I could see it really good. Now, of course, it would go, they'd get a tree between me and it, but it would cross. And because the timber. And I watch that thing hit the crown of the hill. So, it's like two ridges. I'm on this ridge top, and now it's on this ridge and it's going away. And I watch that thing go out of sight into the timber, going like over that other ridge, and it's gone. It was probably, the last I saw it, it was probably 200 yards, 220 yards. But, I saw it from maybe 100 yards and watched it run over 100 yards going up that hill. This was broad daylight. I mean, this was daytime. But that thing, y'all, it was just so crazy. It had to, I mean, it was there. When I looked, looking, critiquing everything, looking for deer, I didn't see anything out of the way. The damn sure wasn't that big black thing. And the first thing I heard, that made my attention, I'd look, and when I looked away, that's when it exploded out of that. And it was just moving. It was like a blur. You couldn't have took a professional motocross rider and took off from the bottom on the baddest dirt bike made and went up that hill as fast as that thing was going up the hill. I mean, it was just unbelievable. It's a speed, but it was big. Now, I mean, it was massive, and it was just like the other ones I've seen. It didn't taper at the waist. It was like the body was, more barrel shaped. It stayed big all the way down, and it had the big donka on it, the big thighs and the big biceps. And no neck. I mean, it's like its head's pressed down and it's just sloped. And I mean, this thing had to be 8 foot. Had to be. There's no way it was less than 8 foot. And it was. You look right now. Anybody is watching this. Look at the darkest, blackest, shiniest object that's around you, and it was that black or dark. And that's the contrast from. Wintertime brown leaves, tan leaves, gray tree bark. This thing was like a sore thumb just sticking out there. And it was moving going up that hill. So
did it? I know you told us before that it exploded on all fours. At any time when it got to the top of the hill, did it go to 2 or did it stay on 4?
No, this thing was on 2 legs.
Oh, it was on 2 legs. Oh,
yes, sir. It was on 2 legs the whole time.
Oh,
No, it was never on all fours.
wow.
But when it came up out of the, I mean, it was like a damn, almost like a jack in the box when it come up, because when I heard all this racket, when I looked, the debris is already in this like big mushroom cloud flying through the air, and that stuff went in like a debris field, like a circle debris field around it. So I don't know if the thing was laying there and it just covered itself up. I don't know if maybe it had a structure that it was made and it exploded. I don't know. All I
Look,
know is there was debris going all over the place.
A-
Leaves
af-
fluttering down.
After you had time to think about it, why do you think it chose to even do that? I mean, if you had already looked there, didn't see it, it could have just remained hidden. Is there anything that gave you kind of like a logic as to why it did that?
I have no clue. I have no clue why it did that, because I didn't have any kind of plan of dropping off that hill and going to the bottom. But I was just going real slow. And like I said, I was just going to walk down. And look, I wasn't going to go much further. I was just going to go on down that ridge, just maybe another 40, 50 feet, if that. And I was going to sit down and watch it. But, yeah, I mean, like I said, I was going into the woods, and this was broad daylight. I'm guessing probably 2:30ish, maybe, because I was going to sit there for an evening hunt, you know.
so what was the temperature that day? Was it kind of cooler, or
Well,
you
I mean,
remember?
yeah, it was, best I can remember, Roger. I seemed like I had on a pair of insulated bibs and a jacket. So yeah, it was, it was cool. I figured probably 40 degrees or less.
Well, was that side of the hill on the sunny side?
Oh, say no, not really, not the
Okay.
way that lays, because that hollow is going to be actually down in the bottom of that hollow. The hollow is going to be running, the bottom of the V of that hollow is going to be running nearly east and west, and that will be on for the main road coming in, the main mountain. That'll be on the east side of the main mountain. So no, that's not really, like later in the day. No, it's not going to be in direct sunlight.
Well, and we're all thinking the same thing. Like probably because you flushed up quail and almost had a heart attack before sneaking,
Oh yeah.
and a turkey will scare the crap out of you with
Yes, it will.
the air from the wings when you'll hear that weird sound.
Well,
But you know, we're all picturing this thing finding a spot and covering itself up for whatever reason. It could have been deer hunting too, or it could have been just we don't know.
I don't,
But
Roger. I wondered if it got down there, covered itself up, because those deer would come up that hollow. They would come up that hollow right in the bottom, and they would come out and feed up through this hardwood. So I wondered if it was down there and covered itself up, maybe had a blind where it could just let them get close and jump out on them. And I also wondered, did this thing just feel secure down in there and covered itself up to hide itself and for maybe warmth? I mean, let's just
yeah,
say it was a layer, it just drug a bunch of leaves up on it. And then I had a bunch of people like, well, did you go down there and look for any sign? Hell no, I didn't
didn't
go
have
down there and
to.
look for no sign.
Didn't have to.
well, a couple
No.
things, a couple things that stand out about it, and you hear people talk about certain experiences a lot like what Greg is saying right here. But a couple things, just think about this, even if you don't know why it did all that. You firsthand, and several of us have had stuff happen where you get growled at or you hear the noise, like in your case where the one went across the trail and you knew you were going to be able to lay eyes on it, and then there was nothing there, and then it picked up on the other side of that clearing.
Oh yeah.
If they can do that, which I know that they can, but why didn't it just do that? If they can jump in and out of portals, why didn't it just do that? If they can mind speak and read your mind, then it would known, hey, he ain't coming down this way. He's not even going to walk over here. He's only going to walk another 30 feet that way. But it points out more in the negative than what it tells us about like why it happened the way that it did. But I do think it's interesting that you said it ran on 2 feet the whole time, because
Yeah, it was on 2 feet the entire time.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of people that will tell you that their first, a booger's first inclination is to drop on all fours and peel off, which I know they do that a lot. I've never seen one do it, but
But think about this. Think about this though. If it's on the side of a hill and it's going downhill, it probably would have been harder to drop to all fours at that point to go downhill, wouldn't you think?
Well, I don't know, but see, when I saw it, it was in the bottom. It was on the flat spot of that hollow,
Okay.
and
I'm
it
all wrong.
rolled up, and then took off up the hill.
and on the movement, when you were watching it, and I know, I mean, I've seen it, it happened so fast you can't really appreciate it, but could you tell, like was it moving funny? Was it moving normal like a regular physical thing? Was it doing the super smooth thing?
Well, I'm gonna tell you something that I haven't heard anybody ever mention, but all four of the ones that I saw really good when they and look, all four of them were either running or I watched them run. You know, by the time I focused on them, they were moving. Um, the things run crazy, weird. It's not like for us, for a human, the locomotion is we're using our hands to help propel. You know, you're seeing
Yeah.
arm swings. No, all the ones that I've seen when they ran, it's like their arms sucked in tight, and it's nearly like they don't need their arms to swing to run. I don't know how to explain that. It's like their arms are just like down to their side, tucked in, kind of out of the way, and it's weird. And look, what I've seen, they don't. Okay, if we watch a runner, you watch an Olympic sprinter or a long distance runner, and they turn it on, they're really running hard. You'll see a human body will lean forward, so it's like the gravity is helping pull your body, and you're not running up. You know, instead of standing erect, you're leaning forward and running. No, the weirdest, craziest, off the wall thing when you see one of these things run. Well, part of it is the absolute speed of it. The second part of it is like they're moving so hard and their legs are pulling so fast, their body doesn't lean forward. It's nearly like their feet are peeling, and it's like it's standing them straighter up, like their legs are pulling so hard. The momentum of their body is the weight's lagging the top part behind. They'll either be nearly straight up or nearly like a cartoon, like they're laying backwards, peeling back, running. And it's the craziest looking something you've ever seen.
Greg, that when I tell people about the first one I saw back a long time ago, that was the one thing that didn't look right to me was when it was walking up that hill, it wasn't leaning forward. It was almost straight backed. And it was using its legs in a, up and over that grass. But if me and you, all of us walked up that hill, we'd be leaning and stumbling forward.
Yeah.
This thing, I couldn't understand it. It was straight backed, even uphill like that. And it wasn't running it, but it was still walking. And you had said, I remember I heard you said it looked like it was on a bicycle, like the feet were like a bicycle motion almost, kind of, sort of. And that's what I had told people, that this thing, it was odd looking in the walk, because it didn't walk like us. It looked like the balance was different. I don't know if that's because of the feet supposedly being made up the way they are, with that where it bends or what. But let me ask you something. So with all your experience with deer hunting and seeing these things run, if there had been a deer 20 to 30 yards away from that thing, would it got away from it if it exploded onto it?
A deer wouldn't have had a prayer. There's no way. I mean, I've seen thousands of deer running through the woods, and I've killed a bunch of deer running through the woods. And I'm well versed in the speed of a deer. A deer wouldn't have had a prayer. There's no way. No way. But y'all, I mean, it's so, and I keep using the word cartoonish, but it's absolutely cartoonish. Like, it's kind of like when you'd see like a cartoon character take off running, and it's like their feet take off and their body like lags back, and their feet, it takes off, and it's dragging their upper body. That's nearly what it's like, but it's more like they're just straight up or either tilted back a little bit because the legs are pulling so hard. It's like they're going to outrun the top of their body. And y'all, it's the weirdest looking something you've ever seen. And as far as people talking about how they walk, I've yet to really see one just walking. The ones I've seen is like they'd be standing or like step out, and then like the one stepped out and faced me, and it swung to go back and just made an exaggerated step, and then it whirled and then lunged or jumped up in the road. When it hit the road, y'all, when that thing hit the road, it was running way faster than an Olympic sprinter when it hit the road and was gone. And it's just, you can't put it into words and make people understand what it is, because there's nothing else to compare it to. Nothing.
Yep.
3D keeps asking if you've ever smelled them.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you have, but.
Brother, I've had to take, which I didn't have a beard this long then, but I've had to take my shirt and pull it up over my nose and my mouth and try to breathe through my shirt, just hoping it was going to help. And I've had it to where it would absolutely nearly make your eyes water. But they do not smell all the time. No. I walked within 6 foot of that one that night. I never smelled anything. I walked within 6 feet of it. And then it was just as I stepped past it, the thing growled at me, and I about turned inside out. It's a damn wonder I didn't smell really bad. But y'all, the thing about them running though, it's not like like I said, if we watch an Olympic sprinter or human, you'll see our body is doing, like this. Our steps, our body, our torso is going up and down some.
Right.
These things look like they're like they're standing still on one of like a conveyor belt. Their torsos is just like but real quick. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. I saw that one. That unnerved me horribly. Then the next one that I laid eyes on was it's going to be about 1.5 miles, 1.75 miles from where I'm sitting. I was on the highway, and I'd been out policing that night, and it was just before 4 a.m. Shift change was at 4. I was coming back, and you're coming up a big long hill. You cross. I mean, you're down by the lake, and you come up a big long hill, and you go down a hill, and then back up another big hill. And when you come over the top, you've got a hilltop here, and then a big swag, and another hilltop. So it's just kind of like a roller coaster. Well, if you measured from hilltop to hilltop, just pull a straight line and drop the plumb bob, it's probably like a 40-foot elevation from the hilltops to the bottom. When I came over, I had my headlights on bright, and the light beams, are shining like at this other hilltop. Well, it came down, and then the beams slowly, came on down and shined the bottom of the swag. And from hilltop to hilltops, probably 100 yards. It's not far. It just does a quick down and back up. Speed limit's 55. It's a big U.S. highway, 2-lane road. When my headlights went down and it started illuminating the bottom of that swag, the first thing I see, it looks like one of the round driveway reflectors that's about not quite as big as a skull can, but the ones that's on the little fiberglass pole that people poke up, the red reflector. It looked like one of those was in the center of the highway, but it's moving. And then I realized that it's the left eye of this thing, and it's kind of turned, and it's running. And I watched it take about 3 steps. Now look, I'm not talking about big, giant, over exaggerated steps, because it's like its feet are like, it's like super quick. And I watch it dive off of this bank, or not dive, but it jumped off. It left the ground, and it dropped and landed and never broke stride. but the bank of the left side of the road. So it crossed in from my lane. It was in the middle, and it went across the other oncoming lane, and it jumped off this embankment. Well, the side of the road there's it's like this. It's steep. So road, and it drops down, and it's flat for probably 25 feet. I watch it land in the middle of that, and it takes maybe 1 or 2 steps, and it goes into the timber. Now, my headlights are shining straight on this thing, and I'm going about 50, 55 mile an hour. So I'm going toward it. And it was maybe, by the time I saw it good, it's maybe 50 yards. And I'm rolling that way pretty quick. So I'm gaining ground, getting closer to it. But this thing was jet black. I'm talking about ink black, black as black, shiny. Hair looks like it's been brushed. Just silky looking, reflective, the headlights. And that thing lands and goes into the timber. Well, like I said, it was like when my headlights hit it, it's running. It was on the other side, but it kind of like does this. It doesn't like turn its head. It's like it does this a little bit into the stride, and it straightened back out. But that thing's eye looked like it was that big around. It was about the size of one of those reflectors. That's about how big it was. I don't know if that's an inch and a quarter, inch and a half, whatever, but it just about like one of those reflectors. But I mean, I saw that just plain as I'm sitting here, and that was number 3 that I saw, and it's where my cousin, where the land that I hunt now, it's on the other side of the highway, but it's on his land, and straight through that gap of timber, it's not but about 50 or 60 yards. He's got a barn, and they had a bunch of cattle and stuff, but you go through that little scope of woods on the side of the road, and it pops out in one of his cattle pastures, and there's a hay barn. So I don't know what the damn thing was doing or why it was going up through there. And there's a guy that had an encounter that it took me 2 years to get a guy to open up to me about what happened. This guy was turkey hunting. And his buddy told me, he said, you need to talk to him, get him to tell you what happened. I said, why? He said he got the crap scared out of him, said he was turkey hunting, and one of these things walked up on him. And he said the guy shot it with some turkey loads, shot it 5 times. Like, what? He said, yeah. I said he shot the thing, shot it boom, 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 boom with a semi-automatic 12-gauge shotgun with high-brass turkey loads. Well, I started asking. I asked about it one day. I said, hey, I talked to you a minute. He said, yeah. I said, so-and-so told me you had an encounter over in the woods with something you couldn't explain. He said, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. He's crazy. Well, I saw the old boy that told me that. And I said, look, I asked him about that. He said, look, that happened. He called me, tore up about it. He said, he didn't want to tell you. And I hounded this guy probably 5 or 6 times over the course of a couple of years. And I finally got to explain to him. I said, look, dude, I'm the last person on the planet that's going to make fun of you. I said, because I've dealt with these things and I've seen them. And he's like, what? I said, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, where this happened to him, like I said, when I saw the thing, it was in the center of the road going to my left. If you took where I saw it at, the swag that I'm talking about, that's the start of a hollow that if you go to the right, it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. It goes for a couple of miles. Crow fly, the same exact hollow went down about a mile and went behind this guy's house. That's the same hollow that he shot this thing. Same hollow. So this happened to him within a mile where I saw that one cross the road.
Well, what did he tell you about it? What did he tell you about the shooting of it? How it happened? What did the thing do?
He said that he had went off in behind his house, and it's a big, that hollow makes a big canyon back in there, and said he'd went off in there turkey hunting, and he went down to where it flattened. It's kind of like what I was talking about a while ago. You go off a big steep hill, and it flattens out, and you got a flat bottom, and then another hill that goes up. You're just at the bottom of a hollow. He said he got in there early, and he'd sat down and set up, full camo turkey hunting, and said he had done some calling, and he was waiting around to see what would happen. And he said he heard something coming off the hill, like to his right, coming down the mountain. He said it was making a lot of racket, like in the leaves, because it's real steep. He said something was sliding or walking or traveling down the hill, and said he kept watching. Said it was pretty thick, and said that it started getting closer and closer. And said here in just a minute, through the trees, this thing comes out where he could see it. He was seeing parts of it. And from what I understood from him, this thing got within like 25 yards of him. And he said, man, this thing was covered in hair, standing on two legs, and was massive. And he said, then it was coming on down, like gonna come right in front of him a whole lot closer. Well, you know, when you're turkey hunting, you're sitting there because you don't do much movement. He had his shotgun kind of up, you know, he's sitting down and had it up, and he's done eased his shotgun up like, oh my God, you know, I'm, you know, self-defense type deal. And he done flipped his safety off and said that this thing got right out in front of him like 25 yards, and said it's looked around and it looked straight at him. And he said, man, it freaked me out, and said the thing whirled like away from him. And he said, I didn't know what was going to happen. And he said, I just started just boom, 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 boom. And he said he shot 5 shells, and said the thing took off running. And he said it turned and went up that hill away from him. And just like he basically described exactly what I did. He said, there's no way anything could go up that hill like that thing did. He said, look, if you and I were to try to go up that hill, he said, you would be like reaching out and grabbing trees or tree limbs and having to pull yourself and basically climb it to go up. He said that thing ran up it like it was like a sprinter on flat ground. I said, well, what'd you do? He said, I jumped up and got the hell out of there. He said, I went straight back up the hill to my house. And, you know, this guy, well, I understood, he wasn't a quarter of a mile from his house. He said, I went back up, went to the house, and started taking out buckshot and slugs and everything else. He said, I didn't know what the hell to do. But, yeah, that's
it. You know. Did he say anything about, I mean, have you talked to this guy since then? He lived right there. He shot it, and like he never said, by the way, it come beating on my house every night for a month.
No, nothing like that. He just, but now the guy, he doesn't live there anymore. It wasn't long after that he moved.
You don't say.
Yeah. The thing about it, here's the funny part, Spencer. He moved to within about a quarter of a mile of my house, which is 7.5 miles away.
Out of the frying pan into the fire.
No shit.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't really have anything happen at my house, which is 7.5 miles from here. But yeah, he moved over there by me. But now what I'm talking about, the whole where I have all this stuff, and really from right here to where that's at, it ain't but a mile and a quarter. So add another half a mile to it, mile and a half, mile and 3/4 through the woods to where that happened. But that was, yeah, that was number 3 I saw. The last one that I saw was right here. I mean, it was in my yard where I'm sitting right here at my cabin. I come rolling up in here one night, and, you know, Al had done seen the one standing out here by my propane tank. We've had all kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Seen glimpses of them. We've seen eye shine and silhouettes, but, you know, I count when I tell people I saw 4, I've seen more than 4. But it would be a glimpse, or it would be a partial piece of something, maybe what looked like an arm, a hand, from a knee down, a leg move. You know, it would be so dark you couldn't make it out. You could basically see just a silhouette with big glowing red eyes. That I don't really count those into the tally of what I saw, because I can't say without a shadow of doubt this is what it was. But it you know, you add it up, it's, yeah, that's what it was. But I still don't really count that.
Well, Greg, also, you know, you showed us that picture of whatever that was behind that tree. It looks like an arm with the black hair with a blue sheen on it.
Yeah.
We can't tell what it is, but we can't tell you what it is because it fits everything. But you can't, it's like you said, you just can't say, hey, that's a booger. But
No.
I don't know what else it could be. And I understand Spencer same way. You have stuff happen, and, you know, if you can't, if it comes from hunting and being taught from a young age, you don't pull the trigger unless you ID your target. And so if I tell you I saw a 7-pointer, I saw it. I saw a 7-pointer, you know, And a lot of people exaggerate. And I think hunters sometimes, you know, it's like what Peyton saw that evening at your place. He can't tell us that it was a booger, but he's saying whatever it was black and had shoulders and it walked that way. And I'm like, well, hell,
Yeah.
what else?
Yeah.
What else was it? You know, but he won't say it. He
Exactly.
said, I can't say that that's what it was. So I totally understand that.
Yeah, that. But y'all, the last one, like I said, number 4 that I saw really good. I pulled up in here, and when I was driving up, I'm coming in my Dodge pickup. I've got a Ram 1500, and it's got really bright headlights. But as I'm pulling up to the man cave, I parked to the left end of the building, and I pull up in there and I cut it to the right, and then I back up and park by my Ram. Well, as I'm coming up, I'm thinking, because Al had saw that big one right here by my propane tank. So as I'm pulling in, it's kind of like looking at the cabinets on the right end. So I'm looking over there. Well, as I'm going up, I'm going to pull on up toward the left side and cut it toward the propane tank and then back up and park. Well, about the time I'm looking over there, I focus back right in front of the truck, getting exactly where I'm at, where I've got to turn. And right before I start to turn, I look straight in front of the truck at the wood line. And, from the end of the cabin to that wood line is not, from the corners, probably 20 feet or less. And here's the thing about it. I've got a big security light out there. Well, when I look, and this is the absolute crazy ass shit of it, is the lights in the corner of the yard, and then you've got about probably 50 feet to the cabin, or to the corner of the porch on the back of the cabin toward the river, about middle ways from the light to the cabin. So about 30 or so feet from the corner of the cabin. I look up, and it's like you're looking at a picture. The lights lit up because it's dark. It's 10 o'clock or so, something like that. It's later in the evening. It's like you're looking at all this, the green, the pine needles and the leaves and all that, and it's like you've took an eraser and you just erased out this outline, like a side profile of this thing's body and its head. It's like a void, and it's this black void. And it takes me just a split second. I'm like, what the? And about the time this registers, like, oh my God, there's something standing right in front of the truck. And we're talking about 50 or 60 feet at the very most. My headlights are on bright, shining straight at it. It's directly in front of the truck. And it's facing with its back toward the security light. And its back toward the security light, and it's facing toward the corner of my porch post. Like the cabin, and then the porch goes off toward the river. It's facing toward the cabin. And this thing goes, like it just rotates just about an eighth of a turn, and it snaps back, and that thing bolts just, and there it goes back into the cartoonish part of, it's like it's just standing there, and it takes off, and it's like its legs like outrun its body, and it's like jerks its body mass. And it goes from like a quick snap back to straight back up, and that thing runs, and it goes within probably 5 feet of my corner post of that porch. And it goes behind the porch, and I lose it because I'm looking at the cabin.
Yeah.
And it goes on the opposite side of the cabin from me. But when it went close to that porch post and to the roof on the cabin, because it's the porch is covered, I made a mental mark of where it was at in correlation to the roof, which we wound up measuring the next day, and that put it around 9 foot or maybe a little over. And it was a big boy. Now I'm talking about thick. This thing's big as a sheet of plywood, wide, and it's thicker from its chest to its back than from my shoulder to shoulder, but from its chest to its back, the thing looked like it was over 2 foot thick, massive absolute massive, and it was the same color as all the rest of them that I've got a good look at. It was absolutely jet black. But and what was so weird about it, it was like, I don't know if it was because it was standing so still, but it was like a void. It was just like you took a picture and cut out a silhouette outline and put a piece of black paper behind it and stuck it on there. It was just like you had erased the color out of it. And it was like it was so dark. It was like it was absorbing the light. But
Yeah, and I, quickly, I hit a black cow one time in my dad's long driveway, and it's standing there in front of me at night, and my eyes are like, "What is that?" Because it's like it's soaking up the light, and you really can't make out any detail. And then by the time I realized what it was, I swerved and hit her a little bit. But when something's black, that black, it it I don't know. That's the only thing I can compare it to.
Well,
So I kind of know what you're saying.
when something is really black, like just totally black, even at nighttime, it kind of stands out because there's not a lot out in nature that is just 100% solid black. You know what I mean? But these things, my limited experience with actually laying eyes on whatever, it's more like what he was saying. It's like the light, it's not so much that it's black. It's like because it absorbs the light or does something with the light, it almost stands out because the light doesn't hit it the way the light hits everything else. Whenever the light is going into shadows and everything, it lights up a little bit. You'll see like dimension. With this, it's exactly like what he said. It's like a void right there. And you look at it and you're like, what the hell is that? And then it moves. And you're like, well, shit. It's hard to explain.
That's what gets me answer is see like especially the one that the first one I saw that was crossing the road. When it got in that daylight, it was like the sunlight was bouncing back. It made it look gray in places. It's like we at one time in my life we raised some Brahma cows. We had some Brahma bulls.
Yeah.
And they were just slicked off. If an animal's eating real good and it's well fed, it's got a high fat diet, it's getting like oils and stuff.
It gets that sheen on it.
It's a sheen, just like your dogs. Look, you take your dog and feed it something that's really greasy or oily, and what does its coat do? That thing gets just slick. Look, it makes it look wet. All right, that's the way this thing looks. That's the best way I can describe it. But as I watched that one cross that road, I could see that the muscles stood out, and that's the reason that. And people, they can believe whatever they want to, but like the Patterson footage, where you can see like the muscles moving, I could see that even from a distance, because it was like when the muscles would bulge, I guess it was making them like moving the light, and it was like it was making the shine like change, and that thing was so slicked off and shiny, its hair, and it didn't look nasty. It wasn't like it had leaves stuck to it. This thing looked like you had manicured it, like you had combed its hair, and it was blacker than Spencer's shirt, but it was so shiny. It was like it was reflecting the sunlight off of it, and it made it look from just black. It looked like it was silvery, like gray patches. And I could see, like, even on the thighs, like when it was running, I could see that, like the muscles of the thighs, even from a distance, because it was massive. It was huge. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, y'all. It just, like I've said, every time I think I've got an answer for something, that answer gives me 10 more questions.
One thing I thought was interesting about what you're just talking about right now, and I know you do it all the time because we all do it all the time. If you've ever been around these things, but think back on like how much your life has changed whenever you realize I'm talking about like little things that you do where you're talking about, the one that Alan saw that was there behind the propane tank. So every
Yeah.
time you pull in at night, you're going to be looking over there at that propane tank, or the one that Bailey saw in the woods back there, like where you're talking about, and it makes you, it forces you to adjust the way that you think and behave in every aspect of your life. I'll be on a job outside, and like if I end up working till it's getting dark, if I hear a noise, I can't tell you how many times I've heard like people like running hounds, but from a long ways away, a hound call kind of sounds like a booger to a degree. Not really, but it's just that kind of call, and I'll stop. I never used to do that before, and I never. Whenever you don't know that these things are real, you just write it off. It's like your brain overlooks it. But whenever you know that they're real, it's like you just naturally pay attention to way more crap than what you ever did before. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, because as a deer hunter, all the deer hunters are looking for tan, and you're riding down the road and you're glad now you're looking for tan and black spots.
reddish colored. I mean, there's some of them here. I mean, I know people, legitimate people, even Kumbo, like some of the ones that he saw here was different colors, reddish brown, or kind of like a dry pine straw color. The one I saw had a lot of gray in it, or like a dark gray, and it had some white spots on it. He said it was just like a spot of white, and it'd be like one here and one over there and one over here. We kind of put that together, and whether this is right or not. And Misty, we're giving Misty credit on this because she's the one that mentioned it, and then it was like light bulb. She said, "I wonder if it's where it'd been hurt." Because was talking about like her dealing with animals and dogs.
Yeah.
She said, a lot of times, like a dog, say if you had a black dog, or
it'll get a white spot.
It might have been the one that got shot with a turkey shot. You know what I mean?
But that a lot of times the animal that if it gets hurt, that like makes a scar or whatever, and then if hair comes back, that hair it'll be
damaged.
White. Yep. Yeah, it'll be a damaged area. It'll come back white, like a trauma makes the hair lose its color. So I don't know. I mean, that's a plausible for me that maybe that's what it was. But John, I mean, really, oh wow, bless his heart. He's been gone a little over a year now, and he, y'all, that messed oh wow up. I mean, he struggled really hard. People have no clue with dealing what he saw, even though he'd been through all this with me for all these years. He had heard so much, experienced so much. I mean, we're talking about, he'd had them all around him coming in the stand just like they had done me. They'd done Al the same way. He'd been here in the damn house get whacked down to how many times. He'd experienced, the whoops, the whistles, the roars, the grunts, the growls. He'd been bluff charged, been followed out. But he still couldn't. He was like I was for a long, long time. He couldn't lay eyes on one. He just could not see one. But when he walked up my ramp right here to the porch, and that one was standing about 25 feet from him, and it started growling at him, and he looked up, and the thing standing right there in the wide open, looking at him. I mean, they had a stare down for a couple of minutes.
That right there, Katie is the world's most yeah. I pay attention to damn everything now.
Yeah.
Well, y'all, here's the thing. Let me touch on this, just for an analogy or a way to just put it for people that maybe don't understand. Let's just say that you're talking to somebody that, let's say they live in Tennessee, and you move from the Gulf Coast, and you're up there and you're talking about going swimming. And this person that's been at the Gulf Coast is like, man, I love to swim, but shit, I hate having to deal with sharks. Well, that dude in Tennessee is going, I ain't got to worry about no sharks. Ain't no sharks. I ain't got to worry about no sharks. Well, you know, they're used to that. They ain't got no sharks, or they've never seen a shark, or all they do is swim in a damn swimming pool. You take that dude from Tennessee and you carry his ass to the Gulf, he's gonna have some like wait a minute, they you know, I ain't really scared of sharks. I never had to be scared of sharks. And then he gets his ass in the water, and then in the back of his mind, he's going, well, what if there's some sharks right in here? And he may swim and nothing happened. So he's like, I ain't worried about sharks. Well, what if he's out there and the next thing he knows, he sticks his head under the water and he looks, and there's 2 bull sharks swimming round and around him? I mean, that guy's going to have an epiphany. He's going to wake up and go, oh shit, I could have died right here. You know what? From there on out, if he gets around water that could have sharks in it, he's going to be a little nervous.
Well, like Al's situation, and once you see how big they are, I don't care what movies you watched, shows you watched, it changes everything. Because Al come to help you a few times, and he was wading into trouble, but when he saw that thing and how big it was, he realized what kind of danger y'all were really in. And that does something to you too. So that's the one thing you can't, I say it all the time. I can tell you what color it was. I can tell you how big it was, how tall it might've been, how much it might've weighed, but I can't get the size across to you. You know, I can't do it. I can't, but once you see it, if you ain't a little bit nervous, then I ain't gonna say nothing. Cause people make fun of me and I love it, you know. But yeah, I get nervous. Hell yeah, I get nervous because the ones I've seen, some of them could rip the door off and tear the siding off the house and come in and grab me by the throat, and I couldn't do nothing about it if they wanted to.
Just flip a vehicle over, tear off the side of a camper. But like you're saying, and it is correct, until people have an appreciation for how big. I keep going back to this because, again, I know people don't understand it, but if you've ever been screamed at and it's close to you, the sheer volume and force of the scream is enough it's like an explosion going off. It's enough to make you go, oh shit, I don't want any part of that. You instinctually understand this is something way more powerful than you or any kind of small arm firearm, which is kind of why I laugh about everybody with the whole gun thing, because it's shit. If you just hear one scream at you, you'll understand that's probably not a good idea.
Like the time we had that crazy stuff going on and then Huff growled. Peyton set his gun down.
Yeah,
it wasn't gonna do us any good. Man, there's so much like so something Greg said earlier. I wonder how many people. There's probably a few people who went, wow. But when he tells you that it's 2.5 foot from the chest to the back, you know what the rest of that looks like? I mean, the shoulders, the neck. Katie G can tell you the neck, the neck muscles, the thighs, and the butt. I wished I could get that across. And the only way we're going to, even a picture, if you get a picture of one close up in a field, in no size comparison to a tractor or something like that, you're still not going to know.
Well, the average ceiling height in most standard homes is 8 foot tall. So for a full grown, you're talking 8 foot, 8.5, 9 foot. So if it was as tall as your ceiling, your entry doors in most homes are 36 inches wide. That's 3 foot. You're talking about another foot wider than the door that you walk in.
Yeah.
And over a foot taller than the door that you walk in. And as thick as, like just from the side, as thick as, close to being as thick as like a refrigerator. Not quite, but as close to that. And something that's probably in the weight range between 600 to 1,000 pounds because muscle weighs more.
Yeah. And it's,
probably more.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
Andre the Giant times 2.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's indescribable. You can try all day long, but um, so we know people. We've come in contact with people that had up close stuff happen, and they shut down. You know, and I'm sure Greg's had issues dealing with some of this too. But there's some people they're just scared of the thought of it, and then if they see it, you know, they don't go to work for 6 months, or they don't, or some, you know what I mean? It screws with your head. I've been around pro football players, and they're big dudes, but I've been around guys that were 6'7", 340 pounds with not an ounce of fat, and they don't hold a light to these things.
Yeah.
Now I'm sure there's some are that size. I mean, I'm sure there are. But here's another thing. Like Spencer, you remember when I was on Sawdust Beast, and Mark was the first one to kind of go over my video and pull out the sounds with the little booger and the all that stuff that was going on in that huff growl. Well, it's hard to hear, but it shook me to the core. I mean, when I heard the volume of air coming out the nostrils, I was like, "Oh, we're in trouble." And so people that I let listen to it locally, where I had the volume turned way up and they had either earbuds or whatever, the ones that were not into Bigfoot, but they're wanting to hear it, none of them said, "Wow, that could be a Bigfoot," but every one of them said, "That sounds like a this or that or whatever." Elephants, these massive animals that we don't have in southern Middle Tennessee. And that's the thing I kept picking up on. No, they're not saying it's a possible Bigfoot, but they are saying it's something huge.
Well, whenever Greg talks about like the motorcycle incident this year, I've never seen it. I've never seen a display like that, me personally, like what he's talking about. But I've seen enough stuff with the tree branches and the whole trees being pushed over and all that kind of stuff. I can visualize. I don't want to see it, but I can kind of imagine what he's talking about. And I know the effect it has on me whenever I've been there and had the stuff broke and throwed and the growls and the screams and everything. I can imagine with what he's talking about, just that. He didn't lay eyes on the thing whenever it was doing it, but the sheer amount of force and violence
Power.
that thing, yes. You look at it, and in real life, that's at that point, all the bullshit you can fake that you're Billy Badass all you want, but all the bullshit goes out the window when you're face to face with something that is just that much more explosive, dynamic, powerful, whatever you want to, you know what I'm saying, Greg?
I know.
I know that I mean, holy shit, I understand why you puked, because that had to be traumatizing.
Yeah. Hey, y'all talk amongst yourselves. Let me run to the little boy's room. I'll be right back.
Bring a shotgun back with you. He heard me. But, you know, and that's one reason, Spencer, that's, you know, I've heard the lions in the zoos and stuff, and he's right. If you've never heard that before and you're surprised at the power there, and this is the reason I talk about this stuff is all the way back to when it first started. It felt great to be around people that, you know, that knew that these things are real, wouldn't laugh or whatever, or even if they don't know, they want to know more. And the reason I get so animated when I try to get the point across of the size is because it's so indescribable, and you better be ready. I mean, if you're talking about a juvenile 6 foot tall, you know, and I when I first started listening to people's stories, and somebody would say 10 or 12 foot tall, well, I automatically know in my mind, well, if this 7.5 foot one was this big, and you add another 3 foot to it, oh my God, because you're adding every direction.
That's right.
What's her name? Our buddy, it was at the meet and greet. dang it. Leona, what is her name? Anyway, she was telling stories out there.
Neoma?
Neoma, there you go. I'm sorry. Sorry, Neoma. Well, I laughed at her because she was describing her encounter to us. And I was asking her about the size and stuff, and she said it was big in every direction, and I lost it because that's the most perfect statement that I've ever heard.
Well, I think
anywhere you look.
There is a difference between
3D done come in here. Wow.
Yeah, thank you, 3D. Thank you very much. And Michael X, he doesn't have that one anymore, but we do have the one T-Rex scream that was caught at LBL a few years ago. But all of the recordings do not do it justice.
No.
Like there's no way for that to come across like it is in real life. But there is a difference between if somebody sits here and watches these shows like right now, like what we're talking about, and they're like, I believe everything y'all are saying, and I've never seen it or experienced it, but I believe it. There's a difference between believing it and when it actually happens in real life. I'm telling you, which I guess I'll talk about that whenever I do my part of this crap. But that the graveyard thing, where it came up to us, there is no way for me to adequately describe the feeling like in the air, like static electricity that comes in, and the noises, the getting shit thrown at you, when your brain goes, oh crap, this is real. I mean, I was there looking for boogers, but I never really experienced them. When that happens in real life, you in an insta-second, your whole paradigm shifts, and you go, holy shit. I mean, it's an eye-opening thing, and it changes you. It changes the way that you view everything.
Spencer's using big words, but it's a mind twist, because I'm gonna tell you something. All of y'all that want to experience this and all, I'm all for it. But if you're standing there and you got one 100 yards away, like what happened to us at Talladega, and it lets out a scream, you're not going to doubt. You're not going to say, hey, is that a fox? Hey, is that a whatever? You're going to know what the hell it is in a split second, and your body will react to it in ways you're not, you know.
That's why people ain't grabbing their damn phones to take pictures.
Oh, the hell with the phone. That's what Peyton said yesterday. Hell with that 9mm. I'd get in a 12 gauge. But like I said, we were just in case something bad happened. We weren't going to go out there and try to hurt it, but he knew right away that anyway, but your body will react in ways, and your mind will react in ways that you can't fathom. It's even when you're, to me, finding a track, to me, it's so rare. It's like scoring a touchdown in the Super Bowl for me. That's the adrenaline rush. Like, oh my God, even though I know they're real, and then here's a track, I can't believe there's a track because they're so rare to find. Yeah. And it's like you never get used to that. You never, you're appreciative every time.
When you first start seeing tracks, well, it's like what Greg was talking about with the one in the sandbar where you stepped down and you finally saw it. That's like the eye-opening moment, because you're like, holy shit, that's real. Something made that. Then you find a whole trackway, and you're like, it's double real, because it's walking right here, and you can literally tell it went that way. And once you've seen that, and you know that they're real, and you know what to look for, when someone shows you a track, like Kane has a track that's like,
24 inches,
23 and a half, 24 inches.
He hides behind it. He's sitting down in a chair and he hides behind. He looks out around it. So look at this.
Yeah, it's literally, it's like 13, 14 inches wide, and 24 inches long. Do you understand how big something is that made that track?
Exactly. And then he's got thermal footage where he went and superimposed himself.
Yeah.
Where and you're in
that was at his first house. That was
right.
whenever he was first experiencing these things.
And you can see the size of him. So you look at the thermal image and you're like, wow, that might be a pretty big one right there. But then when he superimposes the right ratio of him standing there, you're like, oh, damn.
What was it, Roger? He told us it took 60 pounds of cement to pour that track?
Yeah.
He poured it with cement. It was like it took 60 pounds of cement to fill the track in.
Think about that. You get a Quick Creek bag, you gotta get 10 more pounds of material.
Well, I don't know about. I've never personally seen. Some people will be like, "Hey," they'll show you a picture of what they say is a tree break, but the tree will be 3 foot in circumference.
Whew.
I don't know about that. I've never seen that, but I've seen trees that were probably, I don't know, 10, 12 inches in diameter that were snapped over and twisted. And I'm pretty positive it was a booger that did that. And if you just go out and, I mean, I'm not, I'm not He-Man or anything. I'm just a regular guy. But if you go out and try to grab a tree that's 2 inches and break it, I mean, with all your body weight and full grown man strength, you can't do it. And these things, and just whenever they scream at you is enough.
And see, knowing stuff like that, when we walked up on the first hardwood that was about 3 inches in diameter that was broken and the splinters that shot out the back, I knew immediately that wasn't a bend. That was something had an anchor point here and pull. You know what I mean? And then you see the thorn. What are the locusts? I know, man. You cut a locust tree down with a chainsaw and you got sparks flying.
Yeah,
that's a hard son of a gun. So anyway, this is Greg's interview.
That's what I was going to say. For me running equipment, most of my life, bulldozers, backhoes, all kind of stuff. It takes a pretty good sized piece of equipment to break trees. And, like if you're pushing on something, even with a tractor, a farm tractor, it's hard to move stuff. I mean, we like go to cut trees down and we put tension with a winch. I've watched trees like the motorcycle deal when that one had a hold of that dogwood, and I was watching that dogwood tree. I couldn't take a regular farm tractor or my pickup, 4-wheel drive pickup, and hook a chain and whip that tree like it was going. That tree was, I'm talking about, between the size of a coffee can and a 5-gallon bucket at the base. And I'm watching the top, probably 15, 16 foot of this tree, and it's going over here, and it would go over to this angle, and then it would go round and around, and flop back and forth. It was just like this thing that's just thrashing this tree. It'd be like one of us going out here and finding a sapling the size of a beer can or a Coke can and jerking it. But I'm watching this dogwood tree just absolutely thrash back and forth. I couldn't have took a team of mules and jerked that thing like that.
Well, even the size of the tree you're talking about, the smaller one, it'd be tough for us to do it.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it'd have to be something with loose dirt, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just, oh my God, it's so hard to explain. When like some people are like, well, that tree fell down, and well, yeah, that was kind of pushed over because I heard the roots popping, or maybe the dirt, it's been raining. You can tell the difference in a lot of that stuff. Or, you've heard it when you pushed one over the dozer, the roots popping loose and all that. But then you have one break in the middle, like Spencer's talking about.
I didn't realize it until somebody pointed it out to me. But when we were at Daniel Boone and we had a lot of the trees break, Kane was like, yeah, you heard the break, the pop, 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 pow, but you didn't hear it hit the ground. I was like, what the hell? And sure enough, after that, I've always paid attention to it. And there are a lot of times you don't hear it hit the ground. You hear the break, but you don't hear it hit anything.
Yep.
Let's see. Not before Roger and Peyton was here yesterday. That's when they had something hit the wall. the day before that, Kumbo had called me, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And this was right before dark. I mean, there was just enough light outside to see that you could walk around without needing a light. Kumbo called me. He's like, "Hey, brother, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm talking to you right now. Why?" He said, "Well," said, "you need to get your head on a swivel." I said, "What's going on?" He said, "Well, it looks like maybe some bad storms coming in." Said, "It's like a bunch of wall clouds and all kind of stuff." And I was like, "Well, man, I hadn't saw the weather in a while, and I don't know what weather he was talking about." I mean, because it was clouding up and was going to rain, and I thought, well, I'm not going to ride it out here at the man cave. I'll just run back over to the house because I got a full basement and a vault room. And I was going over there, and I went by and I needed to put a new timer on the washing machine anyway. It wanted to spun the dial off of it. But anyway, I grabbed up my pistol, my 357 Magnum, grabbed up my billfold and stuff, and I walked out this door. When I shut the door and started down the ramp to where my truck's parked, right behind me, which was basically the other side of the propane tank right here in the woods. And I don't mean like way over there. I'm talking about probably within 50 yards of where I'm at. I hear pow, and I'm talking about a limb sound like it was big as my thigh. That thing splintered and exploded. And you talking about the creepy feels washed over me. So I proceeded to scuttle on down and get in the damn truck, shut the door, and leave. And when I got back, I went home and, of course, fixed the washing machine and wanted to sit there for a little while. And Abby she done conked out. I don't know what Wanda done to her that day, but she was tired. They had a big day in town or something. But anyway, I come back over here about 2 hours later. It never did storm. I don't know. I never did look at the weather, but it didn't storm here. But when I came back, y'all, I mean, before I got out of the truck, I pulled up like I always do and backed up by this ramp. And I had my cell phone. I dropped it in my pocket, and I had that 357 Magnum combat revolver. I slid it out of the holster. When I walked up the ramp, I had that pistol in my hand. And creepy feels. I'm talking about. It was like you was talking about a while ago, like a static electricity in the air. That's the way I felt. I mean, it was just like every hair was stood up, and it was tough, y'all. I mean, I got inside. Nothing else happened. Nothing around. Nothing that night. Well, then fast forward to the night before, I was sitting in here, and it was sometime after 2:00, but we'll just say between 2 and 3. I was sitting in my recliner, and I had the TV turned down on like 2 or 3. You could barely hear it. I was looking at my phone. Well, I wasn't watching any videos. I was reading an article. And I'm a true night owl. I don't go to sleep usually about 4, and then I'm up by about 8. But I was sitting there reading, and down on the highway, which is 150, 200 yards, somewhere that direction. And what I heard, I thought was a car crash. I thought, oh my God, it sounded like a head-on collision. It sounded like that, or somebody in a car hit a tree. Big truck turned over. It's a wow. Well, look, it's between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. My neighbor that's right here, they mow yards out here in the Alabama heat. They're in the bed at dark, and they usually don't get up, probably 5 or 6 in the morning. It wasn't them out doing nothing. The dogs didn't make any noise. There was nothing out here making any sound. But y'all, it was, and then I got thinking, well, maybe it wasn't that far. So I was so convinced that it was loud enough that it could have been a car crash that I actually set up and put my Timberland boots. I tied my Timberland boots on. I had on a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. I tied my Timberland boots on, and I was waiting on my phone to go off because I get an active 911 call if we get a law enforcement or even a fire department call. Like somebody sees a wreck and they call it in or whatever, I get an emergency text. And I thought, well, crap, time I tie my boots, somebody will probably see it and they'll call 911 or whatever. And a lot of people got even like the Skyline OnStar, their cell phone, if it's a crash, it'll a crash alert. Well, I put my boots on and didn't get an alert. I gave it about 5 minutes, didn't get an alert. Well, then I hear sound like a big diesel truck coming off the hill. I thought, well, if it's piled up the road, this dude's going to see it. And he's damn sure whatever the hell that was bad. He's fixing to call 911. So I give it 5 more minutes, no call. Another 10 minutes go by, no call, and I finally just take my boots off. I'm puzzled, like I don't know what the hell I heard, but I don't know what it was doing, but it was something, and it may not have been. It may have been a lot closer than I thought, but just the initial, the bang of it, I thought that it was probably a car, like a horrible car crash, but it wasn't. I mean, there was no crash happened, so I don't know, but that was not before. 2 nights before, and then the next night's when I heard the tree limb break, and then yesterday's when Roger and Peyton had something at the house. So my guess is that I've got boogers here right now, and they may be here for a few days. They may be gone now. They may be here for a week. I don't know. But I've had basically it's been 3 days in a row something weird's happened here.
So I've been, watching Facebook, and I've been seeing a lot of people having activity right now. And I mean, I don't know what it could be, but sometimes this is kind of a joke, but I picture the boogers like, when you're fishing for bluegill and they're in one spot, but they move around, right? They're feeding or whatever. Let me ask you a question and I may have asked you this before. Just off the back to the right from the Connex building, you have that overhang indention there. Is that how big of an opening can you go back in there a ways, or is it just an overhang of rock?
It's just you can't really go up in it. It's shallow. I mean, probably
Okay.
to wedge yourself up in there, but that's about it. It's not much of a shelter.
Yeah. But there definitely something could hide down there and peek at you.
Oh yeah.
Or get away from you if
Yeah, there's all kind of places here that would make it super easy for something to hide and peep over or around or whatever to surveil the area. But yeah, it's been a whole
yeah,
big
the heat.
stuff.
The heat's they get mad for the heat. That's a good comment, Thomas.
What made you, after you had these experiences, now you got lucky and you got hooked up with like Kumbo and Osmer and Cheryl. That was a stroke of luck right there, but
oh man, that was more than a stroke of luck. That was divine intervention. That was divine intervention because, a buddy of mine, his wife worked at a restaurant over here, and she was in there, and the older gentleman come in and just happened to stop to get him a sandwich, a barbecue restaurant. She noticed on his hat it said something like had a Bigfoot or said something about Bigfoot or something, and she asked him. She said, "I think it was kind of along the lines of, you believe in them things?" And he said, yes. Said he'd had experience with them. He'd been researching them for that time, like 40 something years or 50 years. And she said, well, I got one of my husband's best friends said he's had some things happen to him that, that they think it's Bigfoot. And he's like, oh, really? Where's it at? And she's like, right here. And he starts asking her about me, who is he, and how do you know him, and blah 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 blah. Well, she gives the guy. She's like, well, I'll give you his phone number. So, and the guy that she was talking to was Bill White. So actually, his pen name was Tal Bronco, and he was a researcher from Arkansas, and very very smart man, very intelligent, and had one heck of a job that he'd done. But he'd researched these things on multiple continents and many different countries. And I don't know how many states in the United States he had researched them in. He's all over different places across the globe. And from the time he talked to her at the restaurant, within 45 minutes, the man was sitting at my house. We were sitting on my front porch having a conversation that lasted for 2.5, 3 hours. And he gave me a lot of advice, and we really hit it off. And, you know, he I guess, you know, he was betting me on what I was telling him and what had happened up to that point, what I'd been dealing with. And, you know, of course, he had my number and I got his number, and we stayed in touch. And he would come to Alabama, and lo and behold, you know, he was going and seeing Mark Green and some of that bunch. And, you know, I'd never met Mark Green. He would talk about Mark and some of the other guys in Alabama, and he would tell me about some of the stuff that was happening at their places and some of the evidence he found and the encounters he had there. And, you know, he was keeping tabs on me a lot, and my dad, and you know what me and Dad and Alan was going through. And when I had my first sighting, I mean, it was January the 29th of 2009. And by the time I got the truck stopped, I done had Bill White's number punched in and calling him. I was, you know, I know I couldn't have been making much sense because I was pretty much hyperventilating. I was trying to explain to him what happened. And he told me one day, he said, "That's the fastest I've ever had a sighting reported." He said, well, it was still happening and you was on the phone. I said, "Look, it wouldn't have been 20 seconds by the time I saw it. I was dialing your number." And, but Bill wound up, I knew him for a long time. And then, you know, he done for several years. And then he done that book, the Southern Bigfoot Files. And, you know, he put some of mine and Dad's encounters up to that point in it. And some of the pictures in the book, you know, is pictures that I took here of the evidence, like the deer carcass that was stole and then brought back and slung out in the field.
Yeah.
Different things like that. The footprint that we found over here that was, you know, it was 16 inches and like 9.5 inches wide, 16 inches long. And that was the first footprint we'd found. Which since then, you know, we found some that was a little over 18 inches. But, you know, Bill, the wonderful thing about Bill, I mean, he gave me a lot of knowledge. He gave me a lot of advice. But just out of the blue one day, he said, "Hey," he said, there's a friend of mine," said, "he lives over there. He doesn't live there now, but he's from really close to you." Said, "He's up there around Florence, most of the shows." He said, he lives in Missouri now. But said he's still got a big farm over there in North Alabama. He said he's got a really good group of guys, his real close buddies that they Bigfoot with. Said they're really good guys, and said, I want you to meet him." Well, he gives me Tim Baker, Coombo Baker's phone number, and he gave Coombo mine. Well, Coombo ends up reaching out to me. We talked on the phone. And, you know, both y'all know how Coombo is. You know, you may talk 2 minutes or 4 hours.
You may call you 3 times in 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, you know, first time I talked to Coombo, we talked for an hour and a half, and I'm explaining to him where I'm at and this and that. And, you know, he figures out what county I'm in. And he's done telling me his life story, and he's telling me about one of his best friends, Bubba Gump. And that Bubba Gump's grandparents, come to find out, live within like 15 miles of where I'm at. And, you know, I knew some of Bubba Gump's family, like extended family members. So, you know, it was just a big connection. And y'all, within 2 weeks of me meeting Coombo, he calls me back, he said, "Hey," he said, I'm gonna be down in Alabama." I said, "We're gonna have an outing at my farm," and said, "I've got some of my close, you know, researching buddies is going to come," and said, "It's going to be people from several different states." He said, "Why don't you come up there and hang out with us and come?" So we're going to stay 2 nights. He said, "We're going to stay at my grandmother's old house." He said, it's a big house. Said, you know, said, "We'll have guys bring cots and sleeping bags," and said it'll just be kind of a guy weekend getaway, and, you know, we'll just talk about boogers and do some stuff on the farm. And I'm thinking, man, I don't know nothing about this dude. I don't know who the hell he is, yada, yada, yada. and I'm trying to do a crash course on figuring out who Kumbo Baker is, and I don't have a damn clue who any of these people are, and I'm going in this shit blind. And something told me said go ahead and go. I started not to, and I thought, no, hell, I'm gonna go. Hell, at least worst thing happen, I can get in the damn truck and leave if they're a bunch of weirdos, which I didn't know they were.
It sounds like Spencer's story when him and Bama went up and didn't know anybody for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're all weirdos. I just didn't know if they were friendly or mean.
Right? Are they your kind of weirdos?
Right, that makes a difference.
I gotta be my kind of weirdo. But anyway, I go up there, and I mean, I got to meet some really, really great guys that wound up being really, really good friends, and now like brothers. Troy Allen being him, Jimmy Osmer, Cheryl Corntassel. I mean, those guys are salt of the earth. Of course, Cambo right off the bat. But, I got to meet Jack Oakirk and Nate Boland, and met Austin up there, and man, just a bunch of guys. And we're talking about people from Georgia, from Missouri, and scattered all over the place. I mean, just this big conglomerate of guys show up, and Kumbo makes his world famous Kumbo chili, and it was really good. But anyway, we stayed up there a couple of nights and a little boogering, and it was crazy. And look, I brought them down here one of the nights, and I'd never been out boogering. Never. I didn't. All I went to do was trying to live my life and go hunting and do what I normally did. And I was dealing with these things. But we came back down here, and we went over here where I had basically the land that I did hunt then or before then that my cousin sold. But we went down to the gate to where we turned around, and we parked like 4 vehicles. And the gate that I was talking about that I always parked at to hunt that land, we parked right there and back up toward where I went in the trail out to where I was at when the motorcycle incident. That's where Kumbo got out and done some calls, and we're all standing around in the dark, and that's where we started hearing the frogs, the tree frogs, just cut off just instantly.
Yep.
And then that's when Cheryl said, "Are y'all hearing that?" And it was a super high pitched squeal, and you could only hear in whichever ear was pointing a certain direction. But that happened that night, and Cheryl's actually he got a recording of it. It's faint, but you can hear that squeal. And I wound up found it on my phone. Cheryl had sent it to me, and I thought I had it, but I do still have the recording Cheryl sent me. And it's hard to hear over the phone. You about got to put it in some speakers, but you can hear that high pitched squeal. We had some stuff going there, and this is how creepy it got. It got creepy enough there that night that Troy Allen was like, "Look, y'all, this ain't good. We need to go." Y'all know how Troy is. Troy's about like Misty. He's scared of shit. And Cheryl's like, "Yeah, this ain't good. The woods are too thick, and something be right on top of us, and this thing ain't happy." So we left, and we come back out a mile or so, and we went within 400 yards of where I'm sitting right now. It was an old bridge. We went to the other side of the river, went down to that old bridge, and that's where that night that we done some calls. And look, I don't do calls here anymore. That's the only time I've ever done any calls or been with anybody to do calls here. And I figured out that wasn't the best thing to do. The Kumbo, we were down there on the old highway, and it's closed. The bridge is blown up and gone. They destroyed it and took it out. But we're standing there, and the river's to our right. And on the left side, it goes up a real steep embankment, and it goes up the side of a mountain. And Nate Boland, I guess, had the first thermal I've ever seen anybody have. Now, this has been several years ago, but Nate's got this thermal out, and he's showing everybody his thermal. And we looked at it, took turns, looked at it, and then we got hearing something up on the hill coming around the side of the ridge. And Nate goes, "Right up there's something. And we'd like handing the thermal back and forth. And there was two things come around, and these things got within 25 yards of us, and they were going from tree to tree, and they was like they would hide down and raise up and look. And basically all I can tell you is it was damn Bigfoot that was up right above us that he called in, and they were looking down on top of us. And they got it on thermal pretty damn good. And I mean, I myself looked through the thermal at them, and they came in right on top of us.
Wow.
And from
Sandman spent his dip money, y'all.
golly, Sandman.
Oh wow, thank you.
Yeah, I knew y'all didn't see that. I had
Thank
to,
you,
I had to
Sandman.
point that out.
Man, much appreciated.
Yes, sir.
We'll put that to good use toward the next outing.
Feed some folks.
Appreciate that, brother.
Gotta buy several cans of beans nowadays, even though groceries high. Yeah, man, appreciate it.
I'll put you to the top of the list. Any questions you ask from now on, you'll be like the first one.
No doubt. Yeah, but they but like I said, man, that if it wasn't for Bill White, just a fluke happened. I mean, I would have probably never met Coonbo. I may would have found out eventually who he was, but it wouldn't be like, it was almost it was almost like Bill White was a social worker hooking me up with what was it, Big Brother program or something. But and then if it wasn't for Coonbo, and Coonbo's the one that, of course, hanging out with him, and this was before he moved back to Alabama. But we struck up a deal, and he was calling me all the time and talking, and I met Cheryl and Troy, and that's where we was at that night. We was going to do some more boogering, and it came up a really bad thunderstorm that night, and we pulled up into the middle of town over here, and it was thundering and lightning and having a fit. Well, I jumped out of the truck. The rain really hadn't started yet, and I walked over to Coonbo's truck, and it was Coonbo and Jimmy Osmer in the front, and it was Cheryl Corntassel and Troy Allen in the back. And they rolled the windows down, and I told Coonbo, I said, "Look, man, we're 2.5 miles from my house." I said, I had to run to the house. I don't remember, it was like get some more flashlight batteries or check on something or what. I said, if y'all give me just a minute, I said, let me run to the house and I'll be right back. And about the time I said that, lightning just lit the sky up, just streaked across and went off, and hit somewhere. And of course, I kind of like a turtle, I jerked my head down. I said, God dang. And they said something about it. I said, yeah, it was close. I said, look, I get a little dubious when lightning starts popping. I said, that shit hurts really bad. I said, it done been hit twice, and I don't want to go for round 3. Well, I noticed that Cheryl and Troy both kind of had this odd look. They looked at each other and looked back at me. And I went to the house and done whatever, and I came back. And we went a couple more places. Just had a good time. Well, we finished out that weekend, and everybody, y'all. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir. Y'all know how our group is like. It's like everybody's just like family you hadn't met yet, and it's wild. But everybody welcomed me in with open arms, and these guys, most of them had known each other for a pretty long time. But hell, they just made me feel like I was supposed to be there, and and everybody, we had a notebook page that everybody wrote their name and their phone number on, and everybody took a picture of it with a phone so you could like have numbers. Well, a few days after we got back, it was that the week after we'd been up there, Troy started calling me, and Troy told me, he said, "Hey," he said, I got to talk to you about something. What's that? He said, you kind of threw me and Cheryl out of gear, something you said the other night. And I thought, man, oh God, I've offended him or something. What the hell? I'm thinking, what the hell did I do? I said, well, man, I'm sorry if I made anybody upset. He's like, no, it ain't that. He said, you said something the other night. Said, you said you'd been hit by lightning. I said, yeah, I've been hit twice. I said, the shit hurt equally as bad both times. He said, me and Cheryl got talking about that. He said, we both been hit too. And I'm like, what? And then we found out that Coonbo had been hit by lightning. Jimmy Osmer had been hit by lightning. You know, here's like just the wad that was everybody in Coonbo's truck had been hit by lightning, and I'd been hit by lightning. And then we started going, what the hell's the damn odds of all of us has been struck by lightning at some point in time? That's like astronomical. That's like hitting the lotto 4 times in a row.
Yep. It's crazy.
But, that's how we get that.
Yes, the odds of that are very, very, we look and we try to find similarities and stuff that might explain all of this kind of stuff. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if being hit by lightning actually does it. I'm not sure. It's odd. It's odd coincidentally.
Yeah. Yeah, but what we got to figuring out that, man, we got to asking people about getting hit by lightning. Flat Rock said that lightning come through the phone wire and got him. All right. Alan wound up when he was a kid. He was standing on a grating of a floor furnace. Lightning hit outside, ran through the floor furnace and lit him up. So he didn't hit. And there's been several people. It's like, yeah, well, I got hit. It's like out of the damn group, they was a damn hell, like 80% of us had damn been hit by lightning.
And I talked to Coonbo. He was asking me some questions. He's got a list of things that's on there, and I don't know, maybe planning something, but
the whole deal about being hit by lightning, though, if you hear them say anything about y'all been hit by lightning, that's exactly where that theory came from. That came from me mentioning being hit by lightning to Cheryl and Troy Allen. That's where it started.
And there's, we're finding other similarities, not just the lightning, which is really weird. It's low percentages things, rare things, but the people that are drawn to this have all this in common. We'll talk about that later, but
in fact, that's a whole show on itself.
Yeah.
And what that could imply, because it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, were you hit by lightning because you are a certain way and you draw this stuff to you, or did getting hit by lightning, yes, 3D, or did you know what I'm saying, or did that alter the way, because people that have died,
y'all Leo done, oh my God, y'all,
holy crap.
He done throw the purple
down, man.
He throw the purple chip out there.
Okay. We're in the high stakes poker game now. Thank you, Leo.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you. But it's like there's probably something that's connecting all of it, but it's a matter of, is it drawing it to you, or does it make you more sensitive to that?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's like, were you born with superpowers, or did the spider bite you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You got a target on your back.
Yeah. The glorious thing about it, like I said, is just, I feel like it's the whole deal of, it's a blessing and a curse, because you're having to deal with shit that you never had to deal with. But when I look around, y'all, when I think about the friendships and the new family that I've got, don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people. I've always been an outgoing person. My wife's like, have you ever met a stranger? I said, hell yeah, but I got to know them. I got a brand new phone last week, and when I went up there to the phone place and I asked that girl, I said, look, I got to find out, can you pull it off and swap all my contacts over to this new phone? She said, oh yeah, that ain't a problem. I ain't no big deal. Well, she started trying to transfer them over, and she's looking at my phone. She looks at me. She looks at my phone, looks at me. She goes, oh my God. I said, what? She said, I thought I had a lot of contacts. She said, I got like 160 contacts. I said, yeah. She said, do you know how many contacts you got? I was like, no. She goes, you got right at 1,200. I said, so is that a lot? She goes, I work at the phone store. I don't even have 200. You got 1,200? She said, how do you know that many people? I said, well, that all of them, and I know that's just the ones that I got their numbers.
Yeah.
I said, look, I know when I say I know a lot of people, I know a lot of people. But, you know, it's just y'all, I mean, the people, and I feel sorry for the people that hadn't got to come to a meet and greet because
Me
they
too.
don't, you can't put it into words how much fun it is and how everybody is. You know, I feel like now I've got so many friends from hell, literally all the way around the globe. I mean, all over the globe and so many different states, and everybody cares about everybody. And it's not just, hey, I kind of know them or whatever. And you know, that's how Kumbo gets me. He's like, you know, they're going to have and Mark Larry, oh my God, Mark Larry, you know, having their stuff at LBL. And, you know, I got, you know, Kumbo's like, we're going to LBL. I was like, okay, I'm going. So we go up there, me and Troy and Kumbo and Jimmy Osmer. And we got to meet, you know, the first trip, I didn't get to meet a whole lot of people because we was out boogering. We didn't spend a lot of time in camp. And, because I didn't camp, you know, I'm like, shit, no, we're renting a damn motel room. And
see, y'all, it ain't just me.
yeah, I wasn't much on roughing it. But anyway, we rented a motel, but you know, we'd go through camp and talk to a few people because hell, I didn't know anybody. I was more standoffish because it's like, oh my God, there's a damn bunch of people here. And then, you know, I finally start learning a few more people and see, I really was, you know, really skittish about getting on and talking. And then Mark and Larry was like, you know, I met Mark and Larry up there, and then they kind of swindled me and con me into coming on Sawdust Beast and Beast TV. And, you know, that's how, you know, hooked up with Spencer, and, you know, he baited me up with Misty, her craziness. And, you know, the rest is history. And then, you know, Spencer, he gets me to come on here in Woodwalkers, and then Roger kind of sneaks up on us, and we adopted him.
That was a total accident. Just like the other stuff you're talking about, though.
Yeah.
If we go back and see how this happened, you have to go back 20 years.
Well,
you know what I mean?
The level of coincidences that it took for all of this to come together the way that it is right now. I mean, we've all been there through it. We've all been part of it, so we understand it. But the people that we know and the people that we talk to and that are family and we connect with and we go out and do stuff with and all of that kind of stuff, the way that all of this fell together,
it's crazy.
It's just my opinion, but I think that's fate, that's God's will, whatever. It wasn't something random the way that all of this happened to work out this way.
Yep.
No.
And if you get to thinking about it, like, you know, as Greg's talking and he's mentioning names, and I'm sitting there thinking, I know these people because of Greg, and he knows those people because of Tao, and you know, it just keep going back, you know, down the branches, and it's crazy. I mean, everybody in chat, the reason I'm here is because I heard a podcast one day at work, didn't know they existed.
Yeah.
And yeah, so and it was like I didn't have any earbuds. I didn't have a way to listen to podcasts. And this, I used to call her my work daughter. She's like, "Hey, you want to listen to what I'm listening to?" And on the way home, I said, "I wonder if there's podcasts on Bigfoot." And that's how that got. And it was so bad with me, everybody accepted me so fast, they thought I knew everybody. And they're like, "Oh, you know so-and-so." I'm like, "No, who's that? I don't know." But anyway, if you think about it too much, it's almost like it's supposed to happen. And not only does it feels like it was supposed to happen. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Y'all know what I'm saying. So anyway.
Well, Roger, here's the other thing. It's like Misty all the time.
Now,
Now,
I,
see, that's from back in the Sawdust Beast days.
yeah, I don't know where those are at yet, so I'm still green.
You know, Misty will send us a text, and she'll go in and look at some of the emails where people send her a text, and she'll either call or send us a message how she's like, y'all, I can't quit crying. I'm a blubbering wreck because so and so sent an email, and I don't mean a bad email. I'm talking about heartbreaking email about how that they've watched our episodes or our podcast and what it means to them. And y'all don't know, y'all have no clue what that means to us, that we in some way can put a smile on y'all's face, bring y'all some encounters of what we're dealing with. And you know that we just, it's like everybody welcomes us with open arms. And if y'all will notice that we don't have the squabbles and the fusses and the fights and the arguments and the drama, the overwhelming drama that some of these guys have, which is horrible. That's doing a disservice to everybody. So, we just don't put up with it. And there's a lot of people that, have sent emails and stuff that is absolutely heartwarming.
We're doing a different thing. I'm glad that Squirrel is back on here. She can chirp in on this too, but we're doing a different thing. That's what Woodwalkers was based off of, not doing a regular standard Bigfoot YouTube show that everybody does, where it's just somebody comes on, tells their experience, you ask a few questions, then you have somebody else on. This is trying to show you the not behind the scenes, because it's not like there's anything hidden or super next secret squirrel level shit. It's not that, but it's to make it so that you understand that we're all just, this is who we are, like day in and day out. That's the good thing about the meet and greets. You come out and hang out, and I mean, everybody is just being a family and just having a good time and relaxing. And we're not trying to compete with other YouTube shows. We're not trying to.
And this sounds, this is going to sound whatever, but we don't care. Y'all do what y'all do. I'm not competing with you. I want to help. If you need my help, I've gone on people's shows and absolutely enjoyed it, and that I never went into this, and that's why I was trying to draw on to y'all. Peyton, I said, hey, you need to watch these Woodwalkers. I just found them. And he said, who's that Greg guy? I like that son of a gun. But then he lied and said he was Team Spencer to get on the Woodwalkers Facebook page. He knows how to play the game, right?
But, I mean,
Peyton likes me best.
I would have never dreamed when Spencer.
He's your little brother.
When Spencer asked me about, coming on here and, being a part of it like I am, I would have never dreamed that it would have led to where I'm at now. I mean, it's amazing. And it's so many caring people. I mean, that they absolutely care about each other. They worry about each other. They pray for each other. And it's just like a big, giant, extended family, except everybody gets along better than most families do. I mean, you take, and look, we all, we're like the merry band of misfits. It's like the island of misfit toys, maybe, because we're all quirky in our own ways, but everybody, it fits. It's like a big, giant puzzle that's all the pieces are snapping in.
Yeah,
100%.
And I got kind of disappointed in some folks a few weeks ago, to the point where I was like, what are we doing? Because some of the big names were calling each other out in public on Facebook. And I'm like, if me and Greg have an issue, me and Greg's going to talk about it. Y'all ain't going to know about it. That's the way you do it.
That's the difference, though. It's because we are, I mean, I know you personally. I know you personally. I know you personally. I know hundreds of people personally that are in this field. If I wanted to ask you something, I would just call you.
Yes.
If we had a difference of opinion, we can talk about it like the same way I would with you face to face or sitting on Greg's back deck or whatever. Yep. This ego shit and trying to be the number one name in the field, trying to have the best evidence, getting pissy over what guess you have and all that kind of stuff. None of that has anything to do with boogers, cryptids, or anything. Plus, it makes you look like an asshole and just not a normal person. Can't we all just freaking, we got enough problems going on in the whole world. We don't need to have the drama over something like Bigfoot.
Yeah. And well, Hillary says, I don't even understand what the hell they're bickering about. Usually it comes down to money. Yeah.
Shut up, 3D. You don't know him.
They 3D. There's a lot of flipping off and other words, but it's in fun. You know what I mean? It's like me and Spencer can talk about something. I know exactly where he's going to come from. I know it when I call him.
Yep.
And we don't agree on everything, and we might agree on some things. Misty will tear you down in a heartbeat over some evidence.
Shit.
You know what I mean?
She is the worst. And her and Greg team up, just so everybody knows. They will
here she comes.
They will tag team your ass in a heartbeat. And then Roger gets in on the background. Roger will, whoever is getting attacked, Roger will jump in there selectively. And just then it'll be 3-on-1.
You're lying.
You are so full of shit. You are the worst. Everybody thinks you're so sweet, Squirrel.
I am.
We want to see your face when you lie, Misty.
Yeah. If you're going to lie, at least do it live. Get on the camera.
No, I can't do that. I'm cutting mushrooms.
Oh my gosh.
What's that code for?
Right?
Y'all can't see me lie.
No.
Yeah.
No, but it's fun. I remember growing up with my group of friends, and when we graduated, everybody spread out and whatever. And I told Heather, I said, with this group here, and with the messenger calls with Flat Rock and Jeffrey and whoever's on there, Bud and Wendell, it's like we can just be ourselves and talk, and it's like I went a long time raising my kids by myself and doing what I needed to do and whatever. I missed that. So our store closed down in 2009. There was no fault of our own. The city widened the highway and the state knocked us out of business. Man, I didn't realize how much I'd missed that interacting with people every day. And so this is just kind of opened me back up. Spencer said, they ruined you. I'm like, no, they just revealed me. And what Greg said earlier, like not meeting a stranger, Heather still is surprised. I'll be in a store, Goodwill or somewhere in another state. And how do you know them? I ain't never seen that dude in my life. She said, it's like y'all knew each other.
It amazes me that nowadays there are so many people that are, I guess it's kind of like the difference between talking to somebody on the phone versus texting. Everybody nowadays is like, I don't want to talk on the phone. I'm like, you're missing out on the social interaction that can be told by like the way you're saying something, your accent, your attitude about it. I'll walk up to anybody in Kroger or Walmart or wherever and just ask, hey, I like a shirt, or that hat you're wearing. I got one from that company, something like that, or hey, have you ever tried this or that? You just walk up and start talking to people. It's like people have forgotten the ability to just, hey, how's it going? And just start a conversation and make friends.
And the thing, not with our text group, because we pretty much understand each other, but how many people got in trouble because somebody read a text in their own attitude and you didn't mean it like that? They
take it out of context because it's just written. It doesn't have the implications whenever you're actually talking to somebody, which is why I take offense to Squirrel not showing her face whenever she jumps in here.
What'd you say, Misty?
I just did it the other day on Roger's show, and back to what you was talking about like talking to people face to face and all that and meeting people. Not everybody likes people, Spencer. When you meet people, I get stuck with the shit like what happened with me and you. See, I got talked into doing this.
But
All
see,
because I met somebody new.
but look, let me tell you. Well, I'll wait till my show to tell y'all about the first time that squirrel actually talked to me. She said hi at the one meet and greet, but the one where she opened up was whenever Anthony and I parked right beside her and Sherry to camp.
I thought I was literally going to die that weekend. I was up for anything. Let me tell you, Anthony was trying to blow the whole park up.
Her first sentence after we pulled in there was, "What the fuck are you looking at, you damn pervert?" To me.
What were you looking at?
We were going down there to get a picnic table that was right beyond I was pointing. I was like, "There's one over there," and she's like, "What the fuck are you looking at, perverts?"
Luckily for Spencer,
You were staring a little too hard while we were putting up the tent.
You are full of shit.
Yeah, luckily for Spencer, Missy's got a soft spot for beady eyes.
Yeah, I felt sorry for him. He looked like a little lost puppy.
And then I talked her into doing a show.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
After she slurped the taco salad through a straw.
Oh
I get talked into shit way too easy.
The infamous taco salad.
But it's been fun. I mean, it's just like yesterday. Peyton and I really didn't have anything to do. Peyton bought a new scope, and honestly, like my daddy's not here anymore, so me and him, you kind of people leave, pass away and stuff. It leaves a void, and Greg, like Peyton's like, hey, let's go show Greg, and so we just jumped the truck and took off, and he didn't even know he was coming down.
I just, man, the only thing that upset me was I wound up having to work, and I didn't get to spend the whole time that y'all was here. But hell, I mean, like I told Roger, I said, hell, I ain't there, but you know where everything's at. You know how to get in. Well, make yourself at home. I'll be back in a little bit.
Yeah, I said, you ain't got no pickled eggs left. Peyton. He got in the refrigerator, just started eating stuff. What are you doing? He hit a long skewer stick and had a damn pickled egg on the end of it. He said, here. He almost shoved it in my mouth. I'm like, what are you doing?
Peyton on the group text said, I think I'm the bravest out of all y'all because I just walked in Greg's man cave and just grabbed a pickled egg out of his fridge. That's how plagues start.
But that's how we grew up, though. Like my parents and all my family. If you come over here, you don't have to ask for something.
Yeah.
Go get it. And it's hard. Heather, at first, they didn't grow up kind of like that. So Peyton would come in and he wouldn't even say hi. He'd go right to the refrigerator, start raiding the fridge, come over there, sit down, and I'm like, it's just the way we do.
Yeah.
I would have been offended if y'all just sat here and didn't get yourself a cold drink or something to eat.
I drank 2 of your drinks. I owe you 2.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm talking about.
You got by the way, you got an empty Coke Zero box over there.
Oh yeah, I got it. Okay. I'll have to get I guess I'm gonna have to get it made, man. I mean, after what Adam said, I'm gonna have to get it made.
I know he didn't mean it like that, being funny, but I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, no doubt. They look. This is a man cave. What was so funny about him? He him and Reinhardt got here, and this is like a souped up hunting camp. And, yeah, I do have running water and a bathroom and electricity, and it's basically it's a 1,200 square foot cabin. And we'd hung out here, and I guess when he looks around, and everything is deer horns and outdoorsy stuff and signs, and I get to decorate it the way I want to because man, I built this place and paid cash for every piece of it, and I wanted my own my man cave / clubhouse where I could do if I want to take down bridge piling bolts and hang a sock on the wall, I'm gonna do it. I don't care. And but they got culture shock when they got here to sure enough hillbilly Alabama, and Then we rode over to my mom's. I was just showing them around, showing them where I grew up, which is only about 8.5 miles. And we pull up. My mom's got a 5,000 square foot house. It's massive, and sitting on 40 acres. And then we go down the road a mile to my house, and I turn in the
Gary.
wow, look at there. But anyway, we turn in my driveway and we pull up. I've got a big, massive house, about 4,000 square feet. And Adam's looking around, and he's like, we're pulled down this long driveway, and I'm driving around the house and up through the yard. And Adam's like, man, he's like nervous, like, whose place is this? I mean, what? This is my house. He's like, what? I said, yeah, this is my house.
Everybody thinks you live at the man cave.
I thought you lived. Is that not your house? I said, dude, that's my cabin. That's my man cave. That's just where I hang out. I said, he goes, well, who lives here? I said, my wife and kids and me. You're married? I said, yeah. I didn't know you were married. I said, yeah. I said, I've been married, like 29 years. He goes, wait. I said, yeah. I said, he like blew his mind. He totally threw him out of gear. So yeah, it was we had some chuckles about that.
They were funny. That's the first time I met Chris face to face, and me and Chris are kind of the same. It was like two. I don't even know how to explain it. He can't see too well. I can see really good, and I can hear, and he could hear. And we were kind of like looking around, and helping each other. And they were so fun to talk to, and man. And I told Adam the other night on the show, I said, dude, you took a tour that there are people in this world that would pay good money to go to all the places you went to. I mean, he went to Greg's, Mark Green's, Flat Rocks, and of course Bud was with them. And I don't know where else, Creepy Mountain, and then Coonbo's, and then and stopped at the LBL on the way back and camped out. And that's getting in it right there. I mean, I told him though, to really experience it, you need to spend like 3 or 4 days in each place.
Yes.
You just can't go in for a few hours, because there's a lot of times we go to Greg's, nothing happens, not looking for anything to happen. But then when it does, I get made fun of. I tell the truth. That's the thing. I can sit here and act like Billy Badass or whatever. I ain't doing it. I'm telling you.
Roger, I think that daggone murder bug, literally, I think your chances with it was way worse than sitting on that corner seat looking for a Bigfoot.
He was indestructible. That's all I'll say.
Look, that bug was big as my whole entire pinky finger, and that thing had like cutter claws or something that stuck out and pinkies. And it would
laughed at Roger, and then Crip walked across the ceiling.
Well,
yeah.
That thing could fly, but it would rear up. It rear up on its like back 4 legs and like hiss it, Roger.
Wait, hold on. We all know Michael X, right? Whose fault is that but yours? You can reach out and talk to us.
Yeah,
take you anywhere you want to go. That's your fault.
Yeah. All Michael's got to do is contact me and say, I want to come see you. But hey, why I'm thinking about it, looks like Sister Catherine had her birthday, and I hope Danny's doing better. We've been worried about him.
What? Say that again. That
I didn't hear what you said. Yeah.
I said, looked like Catherine had a birthday just a day or so ago, and I hope Danny is doing a lot better.
There are several things we should bring up right now. Kat, happy belated birthday. Hope Danny is doing good. Did you say his pneumonia was coming back a little bit or getting worse? Whatever. We'll keep him and y'all in our prayers. I was happy to see Judy Wheeler in here today. She's still dealing with the thing from, her medical thing. Billy Schilling, our own Billy Schilling, he and his wife, Lori, their daughter, got married yesterday. And what did Gary say? Did Gary say it was his
Grandbaby.
third great grandchild yesterday?
Wow.
Yeah, something like that.
Just
So-
congratulations to everybody.
And how many of y'all are coming to McMinnville? Because no, me and Greg and maybe Misty, and then Amanda's gonna try to, but I don't know if she can get a day off. But y'all, and let me give y'all. I won't say what he said, but Kumbo called and he ran by what he's going to talk about, and I said, "Aren't you scared to publicly talk about that?" He said, "A little bit." He said, "But I feel like it needs to be talked about." If y'all can get a chance to see him talk about this, what he's going to talk about, it'd be well worth it. I've talked to him today. After we get back from Minville, we might have him on because I feel like what he told me and Peyton needs to, if he's comfortable with it, y'all need to hear it. I was blown away at some of the things he was telling me, and I can't believe that he's fixing to do this. But anyway, I don't know. It's not 100% yet, and if I do it, I'm gonna do it on my channel. So I'll let y'all know. But we don't go listen to the speakers, because we're out talking to everybody. But I just want y'all to, if you get a chance, be sure it's going to be a 45-minute, and he's going to cut it down some, so we may get the full story later. And I've got something to share that's parallels with it, and I'll start out with that on the show, and then he'll explain some things. So Kumbo, Sandman. Anyway, I hate. Sorry for hijacking your show, but I mean I feel like
Go do it.
Roger, Roger, just for the sake of it, I mean, I know they're going to have several speakers. I know that Kumbo's going to speak, and gosh, I can't remember who all, but there's several people going to be speaking.
Yeah.
But just out that's going to have tables set up in the whatever you call it, not I guess auditorium or whatever. It's going to be, Roger's going to have his squatch and holler table. I'm going to be there with, for woodwalkers. I don't know if Misty's going to make it or not, but I know Wanda and Abby's coming with me, and Aunt Verby and her son Barry, my cousin, they're going to be there with me. Aunt Verby, she's a wonderful T-shirt seller. She pushed T-shirts, man. And I did. I've got to go pick them up this week. I'm gonna have 100 T-shirts. So I'm gonna have some T-shirts. So if somebody wants some.
Did you look into the hoodies? Did you find out about the hoodies?
I did not, because it's spur of the moment. I about forgot to order them, but I will find out this week about some hoodies. And I'm gonna try to do something. I'm trying to get Wanda to her and Abby to maybe do a tag team effort about putting it on our Facebook page. If somebody wants some T-shirts and or hoodies, I may get us some really good hoodies. I'll get a price on them. Get us some
we got some cool possible designs for like the little logo on or a big logo on the hoodies. Yeah, so if we can get that.
You can't see it, but this one's got the small logo here, but it's got a big giant Bigfoot on the back.
I like that.
This is my around the house. I ripped the damn sleeve out shirt. That's the reason we got my farmer tan going.
I'm gonna have I got like 25 different some doubles, some triples, metal signs. I try to put them on a price where it's cheaper than ordering them and shipping. So if y'all need something from Man Cave, and I got Wendell, I got coffee mugs coming in, but I made them different.
Well, hold on. So for everybody that watches this, please make a comment now or leave a comment later. Is there any kind of merch that you would specifically like to see? Would you like to see coffee cups, tumblers, like Yeti kind of cups, hats, T-shirts, hoodies? Is there anything specific? Because everybody always does the same kind of merch, and we're not really doing it. We're not doing it to just to sell the stuff. We're just doing it because
Right.
people might want some kind of thing, you know, because we all come together at certain times to watch these shows and we all know the same people. So it's just like representing the whole thing. But is there anything that you would like specifically? And hey, go ahead and like, I'll give you permission. Take our logo, the Woodwalkers logo, and adjust it any which way and send it to us and give us some ideas, because maybe y'all will come up with something more creative than we have, and just send it to us and let us look at it so we can kind of get a bigger version of all the things that we could put on the stuff.
We got loincloths and a Greg lookalike fake fake beard.
There we go. Hey, that I mean, really, like on the shirts, the way the pricing is going to work out, you know, a lot of times when you go to these conferences and stuff, man, a t-shirt be like $30-$35, and it's like, golly.
That's crazy.
You know, the way this girl, because I'm buying in bulk, and it's local. I'm not waiting on them like Tamo shirts, and it's the Gildan brand shirts. These are really good t-shirts, and they cost me a little more. But I mean, I'm gonna be able to sell them probably for like $20 for a t-shirt, and you know, if somebody wants two, it'll probably be like $35 for two total. You know, and I mean that. So I'm you know, trying to get a really good deal on them and not hardly make nothing. I just want I want people to walk up and walk around, and you know, we're just getting some. I'm looking at it, if they'll just help pay for the shirt, we're getting advertisements. So
and I'm gonna say something here. I'm making 2 chest pies because I talked about it on like Night Owls for Erica. So if y'all can talk her out of a little bite, I'm not making a ton. I'm just making 2. So those are for Erica. So y'all might try some.
Chad and Erica's they've got a table too, right?
Yeah, they're going. We're supposed to be. It'd be Coonbo across with the speakers, and we all should be together. Oddcast, podcast, Woodwalkers, and Squatch and Holler should be right there together. So y'all have to walk around the whole place to find us.
Yeah.
But and the thing is about only getting them at McMinnville, y'all, the shipping prices have gotten so ridiculous that I hate to even ship them because it can add a huge percentage and I don't want to do that. I hate to see people have to pay, you know.
Yeah, well, the point of it is not, I mean, we're not trying to make money off of it. We're just trying to, you know, get what we put into it. But like stuff like that at the meet and greets, at the conferences, that's the way to go about doing the stuff. So you ain't got to pay $20 in shipping.
Yeah, and we planned on doing something like that at the meet and greet, but then they have a new rule. You can't do that. So
really?
Yep. Yeah. What there was no sales?
Yeah, we couldn't.
In the park, inside the park? Yeah.
At LBL.
Oh, at LBL. Yeah. I thought you were talking about the conferences.
Oh, no.
That's only because they had us listed as like a commercial thing because we do the YouTube thing. That's like the new rule in the national parks.
Yeah.
Of all the stories that Greg's told it a bunch of times, but I have to say this because she's in here. Of all the stories I've heard, the one that gets me every time is Aunt Verby coming to Greg's house, and Coombo's there, and Greg knows him, but Verby has been watching him for years, and was like, "Is that Coombo Baker?" That is like hilarious.
She gets me over to the side. She goes, like whispers, goes, "Is that Tim Baker?" I said, "Yeah."
How you know him?
That's Coombo? I said, "Yeah." She's like, "How do you know him?" I said, "I've been knowing him a long time." And see, at this point in time, I hadn't shared with Verby and him anything about my whole Bigfoot stuff. It was on the down low. And I invited him for 4th of July that year. And Verby like realizes, and I had no clue she was into the Bigfoot stuff at all. I would have never dreamed it. And she's like, "You got to introduce me to him." And I'm like, I'm thinking, how does she know who Kumbo is? And then it all blossomed from there. But it's been awesome.
It's like Kumbo's the Elvis of the Bigfoot world.
Yeah.
That's it. He is the Elvis of the Bigfoot world.
Well, I'm probably fixing to have to go, y'all.
No, it's all good. Thank you for doing the interview again, Roger.
Let me give y'all some advice. Here's what happened when I got up. My dogs are going crazy. There's a salesperson on a Sunday standing on my porch. And I lifted up and saw they had something in their hand or whatever. This guy looks over at my metal Bigfoot sign and laughs. And I just pulled it back down and came back in here. He lost his sale. I don't care what he had. I wasn't going to buy nothing from him.
Hey, that's a good idea, Andrew.
What did he say?
He said, I mean, as someone who used to sell t-shirts, if you have a company like an LLC, you can sell your t-shirts with your logo and write off the complete cost on company taxes as advertisement. Thank you for that. That's smart.
I don't think I'm big enough yet. I have to. I'm gonna try to go. I'm gonna go tomorrow. You know, the local guy that you bought the hat off of, Greg. Here, I'm gonna go see if he can make. I'm gonna see if he's got hats that are good enough. That I wouldn't be embarrassed to say. I know he has some really high quality ones, but I know how expensive they are. I want to see what types he have, and I might get me a couple really good ones. But I'm gonna maybe if I can justify the cost, you know, I just don't want to put a $30 hat out there. I may get a few of those.
I'm gonna make that a Woodwalker's logo.
Yeah, that's just not normal. Yep.
All right.
We're a long way from normal. We've never been accused of being normal.
No. Quite the opposite.
Yep.
All right. Well, Roger, thank you for doing it. Squirrel, wish you could have chirped in more. Greg, you got any closing comments?
Just thanks everybody for being here, and y'all, thanks for the donations. That's really overwhelming.
Yes.
Appreciate that a lot. But yeah, if y'all can get a minute to get away, show up at McMinnville, because I mean, it's really, I mean, I've been to several different conferences, and McMinnville's been really awesome. I mean, we've been up there 2 years in a row, and it did not disappoint. And Flat Rock's going to be there.
Thank you again.
Flat Rock, Patrick Noble's going to be there. I mean, those of y'all that don't know Patrick Noble, because he's not on very many podcasts, but you know, he's the one that they found the Patrick, or the what was it,
the Noble Reed Trackway.
Reed Noble Trackway at LBL. So y'all come out and meet Patrick and him and Flat Rock. They've got, and look, if it's a long drive, McMinnville's got several motels. You know, they're not that bad expensive. They're really not. I mean, we're going to stay Friday night and Saturday night and drive up Friday and come home Sunday.
Hey, Brian.
You know, McMinnville's a pretty cool little place, and they've got a really good center where they're going to have this, and there'll be a lot of big names. You know, bigger names in the Bigfoot world is going to be there. So,
yeah, MK Davis is going to be there, right?
Yeah. Is Joe and Jesse going to be there? Or?
They're always there. I'm sure they'll be set up close to Daryl and Kumbo. They'll probably have them in the same spot they did last year.
Probably.
Hellbent Holler, y'all, Joe and Jesse.
Yeah,
and they're cool to talk to. I mean, I'll just go ahead and say Joe, since the first time I met him, has been really fun, cool to talk to, and he's not faking it. I mean, they do their different thing that they do. They do a good job at it. But when you're all there together, it's just it's the same as this group here.
Yeah. Well, you can't hardly get a chance to talk to Jessie because she's just bouncing around to everybody.
Yeah. Well, Michael said he didn't see them listed as speakers. They might not be there this time.
I'd heard that they weren't going to be speakers, but I wonder if they're not going to do like what we're doing and just have a table set up.
It's possible.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. We ran over. No, he said Central Standard Time. Y'all go check out Chad and Erica's show here in whatever 55 minutes. And Erica said she was going to be selling some of her what was it, skincare things that she makes. I forget what it is, Erica. I'm sorry. But
yeah, that's now I wonder if Sherry and Donna's got a show today.
I saw somebody commented that they canceled.
Woodwalkers Rompers.
That's what I'm talking about. Onesies. Skincare products.
I'm gonna sleep in my onesie.
Hey, Erica, where
products?
Erica, post a link on the Facebook page of where people can look at your stuff and check it out and order it.
You got any, Erica? Have you got any tattoo balm?
Do you have beard oil?
I wanted her to make some beard oil smell like country ham. She wouldn't do it.
Hey, look, dude, I'm telling you this. I go through beard oil. I need to buy that shit in the gallons.
They just dip it in there, big 5-gallon bucket.
Pull it out.
All right, y'all. Thank you for joining the show. I hope you got something out of it. The Greg thing is a marathon, but that's what it takes, and he still didn't cover everything. But we not even close. But
I'm good, 3D.
Look at that. She said she does have beard oil and will be making tattoo balm. I'll bring extra money.
All right.
So
appreciate it, y'all.
Greg needs cedar and diesel fuel.
That's actually, that does not sound that bad.
I know, right?
I was thinking more like bourbon, cedar, and pipe tobacco.
Yeah.
Hey, that sounds great too.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're in the wrong business.
That's right. I know. My mom asked me when she was had our bacon and all the sweets. She said, "What can I make for the guys?" I said, "Oh, that's easy. Take some bacon and candy it and make peach and bourbon flavor, and you'll sell every one of them." And she sold every. They were coming back. Oh my God, that's so good! I said, "I told you."
No, stop. See,
cider and vanilla.
There's no guy walking around trying to tell people that he's wearing any kind of vanilla anything.
What you got to do is make it country cool is spell it Niller with like Niller wafer,
or spell it Miller and make it smell like cedar and beer. But vanilla would attract mosquitoes.
Y'all just started another show. They'll make Verby cuss.
There you go. Y'all, Kumbo will be on Old Line Cryptids on Tuesday.
Look, that'll be their 100th episode, and that'll be probably like 90th episode. Jeff went to sleep on the show.
I don't even know what episode we're on.
A bunch.
Something.
But hey, if you don't care, please like and share. And even after the show, if you're watching this later on and it's not live, drop down, leave us
a comment.
Comment. Just leave a comment. It really helps us out, maybe. So,
and if people don't start emailing us and wanting to get on the show, you're just going to get us full bore every Sunday. We're just going to bullshit every Sunday because nobody wants to talk about their stuff.
That's a marathon too.
This is true. We have life experiences. Y'all just don't know. Y'all don't know that the life experiences that we're having to hold back from telling y'all because we want to stay on the air.
Oh my God. I seriously drive down the road. Like, I need to tell on Woodwalkers. Wait, and then I remember the ending. I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
We were telling stories yesterday of how we grew up at Greg's house, and there's no way in crap I could tell some of those stories. some of the mean people we grew up around. Oh my God.
It's like yesterday.
We're gonna start just pulling whole shows on like our favorite recipes and us just standing in the kitchens cooking.
Yeah, look, I'm telling you, Misty missed out. She should have been doing a cooking show with all these apples. Misty apple.
She has y'all's own channel.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
She gets playing shy though.
Hey, Leonard, thank you very much for the donation. We appreciate that.
Sandman and
don't even
everybody else.
Don't start, Debbie.
Dude, hold up before you end. Debbie, thank you. We left yesterday and I was getting a little jittery. I hadn't had anything to eat in a while except for them eggs and the pickled eggs. And we stopped at Jack's on the way out and I saw it had the Kaneka dogs. Peyton said, "What is that?" I said, "Oh man, them things got to be good. I love that sausage and blah, blah, blah." And I got several things, but I got some chicken strips, a big thing of chicken strips. And I'll be dang if they didn't give me some Alabama white sauce. And I'm going down the interstate. I got it all over me. It was crazy. It was good. I still got some in here.
This is the problem with inviting other people on and letting them just talk on the show. You know, just the split pea soup was good, and we're not here every single Sunday. We have lives. We try.
Let's go, y'all.
All right, Misty.
Get in the truck.
Misty's got to tell them a little piece of knowledge before we go. Come on now.
Like what do you want to hear? I tried to put my contacts in yesterday and accidentally grabbed the ones that was still in the cleaning stuff and put them in my eyes. And it took me over a minute to get that daggone contact out because I had to pry my eye open. It set my eye on it was horrible. It was so red and swelled up. Like I thought I'd burnt my damn eyeball out. And it was bad. It was redder than a daggone baboon's ass. I ain't kidding.
Now we can go. We heard baboon.
There we go. That's a good ending quote.
There you go.
The most famous YouTube show right there, redder than a baboon's ass. Good night, y'all.
See y'all.
Love y'all. Bye.
Bye.
See you.
On the computer, you have to hit okay. Anyway,
just turn me on, turn me up, and turn me loose.